Ask Uncle Carl if the stream is up, if he's getting it. Jacob, ask Uncle Carl if the stream is up. Okay.
Here it is.
Alright.
This is a huge army. Protoss
Yeah, look at the bile.
take some biles. There's anti-air here. There's enough Hydras, I think, especially if she biles. The interceptors aren't in great number. The Colossus is a problem, but the trade is good. Look at the biles. Beautiful biles.
Even if she loses this entire army, there's
It's
a
fine.
second wave to get ready. But looks like she's gonna win this out. Barely. Oh, the biles hit the
The
crit.
biles are so good. I think Protoss may. Well, I don't know. She's not reinforcing. There it is. She's finally reinforcing.
Yeah, but even look at the stream of units going
Oh
across the
yeah,
map.
Kitty Cat has a giant stream. Oh my gosh, this is Power Zerg. This is like a marine, a bio, parade push.
Yeah, this is reminds me of the old bomber with just a bunch of marines going across the map.
Wow.
Right.
Well played here. I think Miss Uber XL just needs more storm, more AOE damage
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, you can never
And-
win against the swarm of the Zerg unless you have some sort of an AoE to mitigate their numbers, right?
Yeah.
And you can't. And she did have Colossus, but I think they were just too late and not enough.
What do you think is enough? She had like 4 of them, maybe.
Yeah, I think you need to get 4, and then even a little bit more
Even
to
just
force them
3.
to go air.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just overwhelming numbers here. Kitty Cat. It's
Just
a
too
very
many.
impressive.
Yeah, and now at this point, Protoss can't make enough to do anything.
There's just not enough, and that should do it. Very convincing Kitty Cat gamer win. And look at that.
Yeah, game
She's-
1 adjustment.
Look at that. She's even microing, so it funnels the front line, so it doesn't block the back. Right?
Yes.
These are small things that we notice.
Yep. Stu Blue's probably gonna give some coaching. Like, he's actually sending the queens home.
There it is. There's a battle on the third.
Yeah, I think he needs to fight this. These are slow lots.
Yeah, but
He can micro this. He can kite
There's still
somewhat.
enough charge lots here though.
These aren't even charged yet.
Well,
Charge is not
yeah.
done.
So-
Oh,
There's
he
the
misclicked. He misclicked. He was trying to get the Void Ray, and a lot of the units died from the Zealot, the slow Zealot. Oh no. This is what I was saying. If he had brought the queens and just kind of microed better, this is a winning position. I mean, we do see
Alright, here's-
everything, so it's not fair.
There's charge is done.
Oh, good
Goes-
kite back. Go back to the spores. This is good. Go back some more to the other spores. Instability though.
Yeah, it's not a
Chomping
good
down
battle.
these high. But she gets scared. Oh no, she just wants to avoid the spore attack. But there's not enough ground.
Yeah. Charge slot reigns supreme in that battle.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. I think, and he's even making a lair there by mistake, of course, because he already has one at home. Actually, Frieden had a good chance here. I think he just needed to micro a little better and prioritize the attack up front. So
Yeah.
double the supply and army. So, and Frieden can't fight in open ground against charge slots. He needs to be back in corners, and so I think he's gonna lose his army, and that's it. I mean, this is
Yeah.
a giant army now. Look, his creep spread was really good in this game, but he doesn't have the army, and that's gonna do it for game 1. So yeah,
a good victory there for instability. She
Here.
got
So yeah, Criminal is gonna push up front on the right, the front right side, keep him busy. Then this drop, which was trying to go. I don't know why it zoomed into to the right side. He knew about this earlier, but he's just gonna go for it. He's like, you know, I have a lot of Marines. That's only one cannon. And look, the Archaic is aware of the army up front, and so he defends pretty decently here. But oh, Colossus pops up just in time, but the Colossus can die. He's by himself. He's alone. There is a cannon. He needs to micro it back. He doesn't micro it back because he's dealing with the thing up front. He's slowly falling apart here. This bio army is getting strong. Oh my gosh. I think he has broken him with this two-prong attack, at least at the front side. Look at the army difference, 74 to 14. He has a huge army here. He can just F2 there and then just win. So maybe the Archaic cleans this up, but you know, he's gonna need 2 Colossi here, and they're not. One isn't even out yet. Took a lot of damage there. And oh no, the big army's coming. So this is the killing blow that the Archaic is not ready for. I think he took too much damage from the drop, despite putting the cannons here. So he needs to have a nice engagement here. This is a huge army, 89 to 26, guys.
The
He's
stream
gonna
volume's
stim
too
to
low.
kill the Colossus, which didn't even get to shoot, and he just dies. No micro, and that's gonna do it. So game 1.
I can hear it perfectly on the on my iPad. It's pretty loud. Oh, can you still hear me on the stream?
but there's more shield batteries coming in. Ah, good move here by Cyan, spotting that drop, preventing that drop to coming
Really?
in. And instead goes down south, which is undefended, and now he's able to come in and warp in, and so alright, there's 2 fronts here. Where let's see what's gonna happen here in the bottom. That's a lot of Marines, and there's a stim! Stims down the shield battery right away. Takes out both shield batteries, takes out all of the stalkers and both void rays, and I think they're gonna forfeit this base here. Cyan in the meantime defending well up top, and but it's still Little Reaper still has the big aggression, but you know, not as much here as the Purifiers have broken through. Takes out all of the probes here. Freedom plummets in supply in terms of workers. The Marines are still standing strong. Uh-oh. Little Dom is in trouble. They're gonna depower all of these units, but at the same time, Little Reaper's still doing a lot of work. But the problem here is Freedom is taking a lot of damage. Oh, Cyan needs to micro this much better because they're getting stuck behind the wall. Yeah, but look at Freedom's base. It's getting ransacked by these Zealots. Zealots are just taking out all of these probes. Freedom is down to 5 workers. And you know what? Yeah, this is not a good move here by Little Reaper. Little Reaper sacks all of the Zealots across the map. And they might have taken out Cyan's base, but Freedom is down to 9 workers. It's gonna force their hand there at this point. Is Cyan gonna recall back in his base? Yeah, but he does have a 1 cannon there. Alright, they're microing this very poorly here, but here, finally the Widow Mines have sieged. You cannot, oh, there's a big hit by the Widow Mine. Another Widow Mine hit really damages all of these Void Rays, but the Void Rays are standing strong here. They're still not falling. The Widow Mines are still far back to really help. He needs to move those Widow Mines ahead. Alright, but there's more units right above this. I think Cyan, oh, they just forgot about them. Cyan is not handling the aggression back home. let's see what happens in the Purifier side here. Let's go back to the Purifier's main base and what's going on. There it is. So the Marines are finally cleaning up these Zealots. And I think as soon as these Zealots are cleaned up, they're going to focus their attention on the siege on the bottom. The Void Rays are on their way, which means they're not going to be able to help. There's a big force right down in front of their base. I don't know if it's a good idea for them to leave. Oh no, he's going to lose this with all of the DTs inside. And there it is. Cyan is triggered to go ahead and move forward. Ghost Chan is not moving his armies. No, instead he F2s back home. No! Alright, he picks up one of the Void Rays. He's losing the Widow Mines, which is a really good... Alright, this is getting chaotic here. Ghost Chan does have a massive economy, a massive army, but he's gonna lose one of these bases. And he's slow to react. He's trying to repair. He's gonna put down the Widow Mine, but it's too late. He does get a Void Ray for his troubles. But they're F2ing back home. I don't know why they're not just attacking. They have enough here to just topple the front lines, and once they do, game is over. Instead, they go all the way back. Oh, there's a good warp in here by Sam because there are no units here for Little Reaper. Little Reaper has a lot of money though, a lot of resources, but he does have a slow warp in there. Took forever, but he's losing a lot of probes. No, all right. Okay, so this triggers Ghost Chant to go, and it's gonna counter. He's gonna meet. Oh, and it's open. The door is open. And I think because Ghost Chant dropped down the mules to open it up, and there's a ton of bio here, and there's not enough air units here. The Marines reign supreme, and here comes the Stalkers, and I think this is it. This is the victory march here for the Purifiers. Alright, and I think that's it. That's a crazy game. Little Reaper is still doing what he can with the DTs across the map, but I don't even if you kill all the units on the other side, you cannot dislodge this setup here from the Purifiers. And I think this will signal the game. Well played here by the Purifiers. Ghost Chant on beast mode here, taking care of all of those Tempests. And he got tired of this the Dark Shrine here, so focuses that down first. And I think Little Dom is just processing the loss, and there is the GG. Well played. Whew. What a game.
Here it is.
Alright, each of you. There's a tank on the third, no wonder.
Oh, he's kinda... Let's see this... Raven
He's doing?
disable? No,
Okay.
he did the armor? What?
Yeah, you should have disabled.
What?
Oh no, he's gonna lose everything here, man.
Like,
oh,
what
wow.
was he doing? I think he got too fancy.
Yeah.
He got too fancy, he got too close.
Now.
No, yeah, what?
Now
He
he's
just
gonna
totally
be in
bungled
trouble.
this.
Yeah.
Like, he had such a huge lead. He was better off...
That third.
Yeah, he
right?
just slowly siege. He got too close with all his tanks. All
Yeah,
his tanks died.
so-
He did the armor for one thing that didn't do anything. If he had,
Oh, man.
if he had just
See, like this one.
disabled it,
This is
yeah,
a good move right here. Pick off the
Exactly.
third. Deny the expansion.
yeah, that's. So
Yeah, I think
he,
this is what slows us. I mean, Mighty Ant should have done.
yeah, I'm surprised he just kind of bungled that, but
Yeah, I guess he felt confident that he had a lot of troops or a lot
I
of
think
units.
he got caught off guard. He went there,
Yeah.
something was shooting him, and he just kind of like used the wrong buttons or something, and just panicked, right? Because
Yeah.
you saw what happened there. He just kind of grabbed everything, and I mean, he even had SCVs. I don't know what the SCVs are for.
I should land this. Okay, there you go. Yeah, pick up that
See,
tank.
it's okay to play slow. It's better to play slow but correct than fast and incorrect, right?
Oh, this drop's gonna
Oh
be
my
messed
gosh,
up.
this drop is
No
killer.
problem.
And
There's no
he
tank
still
up
has the
there.
mega tank, dude, this whole time.
Yeah,
He's
he
not
only has
made
one
one tank,
tank.
so he has one tank this whole time.
Oh no!
No army, and I think this
Supposed to
is
have
just
this. I mean, my dad had this.
he has no tanks
Yeah.
making this last 5 minutes.
He was doing so good at the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's like his mouse just went off, or I don't know. I mean, this is where I think you just want to slow down, play slow. You don't have to go
Yeah,
fast,
GG.
because
Good game.
definitely you had that game easily, right?
Yeah.
But
Oh, Raven is coming out too.
There it is. Boosts in. Drops 1, 2, 3, 4. The Raven is...
Oh boy, this is
the
a lot of
Raven better
damage,
not
man.
die.
Oh no, he picks it up.
Only
Oh, just 3.
Yeah, because he picked it up. He canceled it. I don't know why he keeps scanning. He has a Raven here.
Yeah.
It's just habit.
He wants to make sure, man.
it's
All right, but at the end of the day, he only
This-
loses 3.
does not know about it. He's just now putting a turret.
He's gonna lose this third base.
Yeah, but he's gotta be careful about this drop. Oh, the drop does get away. Yeah, but there's a tank up here. And the tank is shelling at least.
Oh. There's only one tank left, but there's Vikings in his. There's Vikings in his production, and a tank. I think he has to pull workers to clean this. Is he gonna wait?
Yeah, he needs to pull the workers like immediately, but he's kind of busy on the top side. Here it is. The Vikings are trying to. I can't land. There's
Can't
not
land,
enough
there's
Vikings
more.
here.
I guess
Well, I
he
guess-
Nice. Sacrifice the Vikings.
He has
for
one
the tank.
battle cruiser coming out, but it's not even halfway out. Oh no. There's
My
more
gosh, those
Vikings
Vikings
coming.
are
I think
Making a
he
lot of
just
work
can't
there. Look
produce
at that.
anything. Yeah, he can't produce enough to finish this off. Good repair here though, so maybe when is he repairing?
Oh, but look.
Oh, what
look
did he
at
do
this.
that for?
One turret is just shelling at
Oh,
these
he
Vikings.
made he made a big
Three
mistake. But you know,
Yeah.
Herntime lost his command center because he was been so busy. And
Yeah, I think the
Good
hurt time
harass
is
here, but
discombobulated here.
yeah, he
Yeah.
totally and he's gonna lose a factory too. He just ran out of cycles, man. It's one of those things where you have the wrong graphics card, it's just not enough to process.
Now,
Yeah, the
Mizel
only
has the
thing
killer
is,
instinct right now.
if Mizel goes home for this, that'll buy him time. Let's see what he does. This is the miracle that he needs. Mizel goes home.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
he's
no
not gonna.
defense there.
He's here already, so he's like, I'm gonna clean this up. So yeah, unfortunately, this had promise, but he was just too far behind.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
there's
and he
nothing
needs
up
that.
here. I look at some SCVs are just actually standing still in his base, so he's not getting enough income.
So two
But-
battle cruisers, if they pop out, can it stop?
No,
that?
there's
Well,
cyclones here.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
cyclones.
there's
and
cyclones, that's right.
I think the
Cyclone
cyclones
and
are
a
gonna
Thor.
take out the starport before the battlecruisers pop out even.
Yeah.
So. Unless he does a repair. Yeah, it's too late. That's it. That's
Right,
GG.
Nice.
Idea was there. Just didn't pan out for the gigs. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to our day, is it 18 or 19? Day 19 of FSL. I'm Seth, and I'm going to be joined here by ET. Joining us here, going to be dragging ET in, will be our caster for tonight. And all right, joined here is ET. ET, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for being available tonight. It's funny because the audience here and the people in chat need to bear with us here because I'm going to be doing production. This is my first time running it from top to bottom, and I'm glad that you're here to cast, so I don't have to cast. People don't have to hear my voice, and this would run a lot better. if I had to do everything. So, pretty exciting games tonight, ET. Which one are you looking forward more? The instability, freedom, or the pure fires and the blind leading to death? Those are two excellent games.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of really good series coming up. I don't know which one I prefer. I really like the uniqueness of the team games, so that's pretty cool. And it should be pretty aggressive based on what we've seen out of both teams in the past. But I'm also really looking forward to seeing how KJ and Instability wind up matching up against each other. That's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah, because this is a good indicator. I know we keep saying this about instability, but this is a good indicator on how much she's improved. She's already gone through Neutrophil, which she just fell short, but she did beat Dark Menace. And now, if she can get over Freedom, there's just a clear path to the #1 seed for her. So, have you been, talking to her about strategy and how to prepare for tonight's game?
A little bit. She's had some ideas. She's been practicing, I know. So we'll see how that manages to shape up for her here. But she's definitely been prepping.
Okay. Well, speaking of instability, he's gonna be playing with Freedom. Let's actually talk to them. This is gonna be our first game of the night. Usually we have our Code S match, not until later. But let's bring them both in and let's chat with them and see what they think about this matchup. All right, let's add them in on our video. And joining us now are players for Code S tonight, KJ Freedom and Instability. Let's start off with KJ Freedom. I know you've been busy KJ, doing a lot of stuff, trying to hand off the production information to myself. But have you had time to prepare and practice against this really new and improved Instability?
Yeah, it's been crazy. Like, there's a lot of life things going on this week. I did practice, but not Terran. I did play 2 games against Neutrophil, Terran versus Protoss, but I lost both games, so I don't really know. So we'll see. And but as far as like SC2 shape, I'm in okay shape. Terran shape, I'm not sure. It really just depends on how good its ability plays tonight. So I don't really know how that's gonna go. Usually I feel pretty confident, but I don't this time. But we'll see. Also, it's been so crazy that you're casting. You're doing production tonight because I'm actually taking off right after this match, right? So I didn't even get a chance to talk to Hyper Turtle. We're supposed to even interview him tonight in between. So I want to kind of do that when I'm around. So just FYI, that's what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, so Cyan was asking if you're going to do the Hyper Turtle interview. So we're probably going to punt that until later on a later date when KJ has more time, because I know he has to skedaddle right after this game. But ET, do you have any questions here for KJ?
Well, I know how you feel sort of about trying to control Terran mechanically. How do you feel against Protoss specifically, like versus like TVZ or something like that? Do you feel like the units are a little easier to control versus like Storms as opposed to Banelings? How do you really feel about that?
I think it's harder for me to play against Zerg with my Terran than with Protoss. So yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd rather play a Protoss.
Okay, perfect. All right, well that's the question I had, Seth.
All right. Well, what about you, Instability? How have you been preparing against KJ Freedom? I know there's a few VODs already available with his Terran. Any clues that you found that you can probably take a specific angle on how to take them on, or what's been going on with your practices?
Nothing, I guess. Like, other than losing every game I played recently, nothing really. And I haven't watched the videos. I meant to, but I didn't get around to it, so I have no idea.
Okay, all right. It's been a regular now, norm now for people to hold their cards close to their vest and not reveal too much in these interviews. So, I'm gonna take that as is. But ET, I know you have more insider info, so maybe you can ask a better question to get her to tell us some things.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, it's become more and more of a wrestling match between the interviewers and the interviewees in this last little while.
I'll tell you anything you guys want. You can ask me. I'm not
Ever
worried.
since the no, I haven't done anything meta that's come along. Let's see. I guess so. PVT, you've looked pretty good. You even looked pretty strong against mech, whereas I felt you struggled against that a little bit in the past. Obviously, we've seen KJ pull out a lot of siege tanks and stuff like that. Do you feel decently confident against that more recently, or is that a composition you still struggle against?
Is that question for?
It's a question for instability. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Do-
Do you feel good against tank mech more recently?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I tried. I don't know.
I'm not telling you what I'm weak against. I'm not.
What would be the build order that would be guaranteed to beat you? No, all right, anyways.
So list it out for us. SCV factory on 12. Oh. Well, actually, she's Protoss. Alright, well, it looks like she's not going to reveal anything. We're not going to try to tip her hand. But all I'm going to say is good luck and have fun. Hoping for some really cool games tonight. Hoping for 3 games, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 2-0 either way. And any final words, KJ? Instability?
Good luck. I took this seriously, not with Terran practice, but with my setup. I'm using my gaming setup. So.
Okay. And instability? Final words?
Good luck. Have fun.
All right.
And, don't beat up on me too much.
We'll see. It could go the other way. I lost O2 to neutrophil pretty easily, so I got me
Alright.
a little thinking differently now.
Alright, well, let's get going. We'll mute and deafen our players here. I'm gonna take out my... Forgive me, like I said, I'm doing production here. So, gonna be a little slow on the uptake, but we're gonna take out our videos, keep them. Let's actually take a look at the vetoes that they've had. Give me a quick second here while we work things out. So, ET, tell us about this matchup. You know, what do you think so far is going to happen based on KJ and his style and instability in her style, right? Because I don't see instability doing a lot of cheese that often, but she has mixed it in a few. I don't know if you heard me. Is ET...
Oh, I had myself muted on accident. Yeah, so what I was saying is KJ's a bit hard to read as Terran in particular, I think, because he mixes in a lot of like strats I've noticed that you would expect to see out of like a Silver League player, but he does them way better than a Silver League player. Things like, you know, against Frieden, I remember he went like planetary into natural, and like 95% of the time, that's a really dumb idea, but he actually knew the exact build that Frieden was going for, which was being very aggressive with like some charge lots and a warp prism. And so that allowed him to defend it almost perfectly. So he has these really... He doesn't play anywhere close to standard with Terran in particular, I want to say. So it's hard to really tell what's going to happen in any given matchup. Because everyone... You can't really say how well they're going to do against someone like KJ just based off how they play against every other Terran. Because he's not like every other Terran. So it'll be interesting to see. It's a hard matchup to call. I think I'd favor instability, but I think we're going to see a 2-1 instability's favor.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way as well. 2-1 instability. Let's take a quick peek on their map vetoes. Alright, we have Blackburn and Pride of Altaris. And then if we get to game 3, it'll be Curious Minds. But I think we're all set. Map is loading. I'm gonna hand it off to ET. Take it away.
Okay, and one thing I do notice off those vetoes is that instability vetoed 2,000 atmospheres in Berlingrad, which I'd say are probably the highest win rate maps she has in this pool, because they're both very big macro maps. And based off the fact that she vetoed them, we might see some cheese. But anyways, we're in game. We're hopping in here down in the lower right-hand side of the map. We've got our red Terran player. He is...
KJ Freedom.
And his opponent in the bottom left, the purple Protoss player. She is...
Instability.
Okay, but yeah, kind of like I was saying, and a Pylon Scout, I believe, out of instability. But like I was saying, a weird vetoes out of instability, in particular for her playstyle. Vetoing, I want to say, the 2 most macro-focused maps, maybe? And we're left with Blackburn, what was it? Pride of Altaris, which is another weird map with that full-on gold base, and then Curious Minds, which is a very, very short rush distance map. So all more aggressive-focused maps. So I wonder if we'll see anything aggressive out of Instability based off those picks. It'd be interesting to see. As we do have her going across the map, she's just harassing SCVs with her probe. It looks like I think it may have even gotten caught and killed. Nope, just still surfing around. KJ blocking the gas block out of Instability. Has, of course, trapped that probe in there. Cybercore now going down. We'll see the Nexus coming down soon as well. As, yeah, this probe will eventually fall. Does see a pretty delayed second gas, so that would generally indicate an expansion. But it could also be a quick factory behind this. It does have to delay the factory by a little bit, though, to hide it from the probe. It does go down. I feel like Instability is probably going to have a decent read on that. And actually bunkering down on the low ground. So this is what I was kind of talking about. KJ plays super defensively. I think he recognizes, and I mean, this is just me purely theory crafting. Maybe I'll ask him this after the game. For me, I'm also a Zerg main that plays Terran on occasion, which is basically what Freedom is. I think he's played Terran more than me, but I'd say we're probably on similar-ish levels with it. Terran, more than any other race, I have the hardest time getting enough production. But once I get to like my 3-base setup where I have 5 to 8 barracks and my factory and my starport, I feel like my skill level with Terran just ascends. And it feels like KJ kind of feels that way as well. So he usually plays really defensive to just try and get up into an economy and into enough production. And then he just allows his mechanics to kind of take over from being obviously a pretty high-level Zerg player, and takes off from there. So that's why we see a lot of times very quick bunker before the command center's even gone down. We usually see pretty quick tanks out of him, things like that, just to play as defensive as possible. Now Instability is coming across the map with their first Adept. Shouldn't be able to get all too much done. KJ actually is mirroring his build that he did against Freedom on this map. A very quick Widowmine drop with Cloak out of the armory there, it looks like. Instability is going Robo Facility, so I'd say this is as good of a build order as you can really get, except maybe going Phoenix against it. But Phoenix is a little bit more, you got to get lucky and find the drop before it happens. So going straight Robo. Instability also commonly does go for Instant Observer as well. And funnily enough, I think going for the bunker first has actually come back to bite KJ a little bit, as I think that command center would have been done if it was made before the bunker. But anyways, SCB should be able to come down and finish it off. We do have 2 Widow memes running across the map now, or I guess floating across the map. He's going to wait for his third. But all of KJ's ground units are all very weak and exposed right now. All those Marines on pretty low health, and this base still not finishing up. If Instability is able to defend against this mine drop, it's going to look really good for her through the rest of this game. We actually do have an observer out. It's going to see the drop. It actually has passed by the drop right now. Whether or not she saw that remains a question, and it looks like she did not. Perhaps sees it now. It does see and is going to pull away. Maybe. Does pull away. I think we'll kill this mine. Oh, barely doesn't kill the mine. And he gets a big shot off on the stalkers. Oh, he tries to unburrow the mine, though, and it gets caught. Second mine gets a small amount of damage done. Not the most. Oh, my goodness. Players are flying from the main to the net and back and forth and all over the place. The mine in the main base still looking for damage. Still has a shot available. We'll probably just get a stalker here. Yeah, gonna be able to get a stalker. Does split away. Not the greatest for Instability, whose observer is just now getting back. As long as she doesn't let that mine in the net go off again, but I think it did just now. Another 3 probes do go down. So overall, that's 5 probes and 2 stalkers for 2 Widow mines. That's pretty good, if not for the complete denial of mining on the other side of the map that happened for so long there. On the natural base for Freedom. A little unfortunate there for him for sure. Blink is now finishing up. There's another triple Widow mine drop coming in, but with Blink stalkers and plenty of detection, this shouldn't get much damage done. He's going right over the stalkers as well. This is so unfortunate for Freedom. Goes in the worst possible place he could go. Blink does save all the Stalkers, takes some shield damage, but that's it. And from there, that's a really nice position. Now killing 6 Widow Mines for just a couple Stalkers and a few probes. Even going to save the Warp Prism and kill the Liberator. And at this point, this is looking really good for instability. Freedom's trying to get up his tech and his production, but I believe no stim on the way yet. Yeah, no stim even started, and Blink is already done. Instability doing the classic quick Robo Bay, already coming down. We'll be able to get up into that Colossus tech as well as taking a third base. I do like this out of KJ. It looks like he's just going to drop a third base on location at the gold, potentially. Or I'm sorry, he already has a third base, I think. Nope, never mind. His natural is just still morphing into an orbital until just now. That just finished as an orbital. So that's just yet another indicator of how far behind economically Freedom is. Just that denial by the Adept was so well done out of instability, microing it almost perfectly, I dare say. The Colossi and Colossus range now on the way out. Concussive Shells and Stem are starting up. But instability doesn't really need to get any damage done here. Just needs to defend and macro up. Combat shields on the way as well. But it's +1/+1 on the way for instability, going double forge, recognizing, I think, the advantage that she's achieved for herself through her defense, and gonna continue to pile on with that. The moment of truth is rapidly approaching, though, for instability. One thing we see she struggles with from time to time as, KJ is actually going to take the back of her gold base, potentially. But the thing we see instability struggle from time to time is adding on production at her third base. A lot of times she just sticks with 4 gateways for all of eternity. So we'll see if that continues to be the case. She is only on 4 at the moment. In theory, we'll see her add on more soon. +1 now on the way for Freedom, but it's going to be a big upgrade advantage for instability here. Second Colossi nearly out, and Charge on the way as well. A heavy Marauder count already out for Freedom, and I do like that against the Blink Stalkers and Colossi. But if instability starts to add on Disruptors, not that she will, but it's possible, could help her out quite a bit. I do like the taking the gold third base, but I think it's too late. I think you really need to go faster with that, because by the time this hits and begins to be useful, I think instability is already going to be knocking on your natural door, and a hidden base isn't going to help you all that much if you don't have enough units to actually defend, because you took the gold base a little bit too late. So I think a little slow on that. Instability already taking a 4th base before his 3rd is even finished. And unlike Protoss, you don't have a convenient recall, so there's a large chance that if he tries to get SCVs over there, that they're just going to be found. 4 more gateways now coming down, so good on instability there. Going to go up to 8 gates. That's very nice for her. And already getting +2/+2 on the way. +1 for KJ is finished up. He's adding on his +1 armor as well. Adding on lots of turrets and sensor towers is Freedom. I'm surprised instability did not take the gold base herself. And it is starting to mine, so it's going to help KJ for sure. Still down about 20 supply, but most of that is in workers, so the gold base will start to help even that out very quickly. Plus mules. Can't forget mules. Adding on double starport really quickly is Freedom. And this is a choice I kind of have to criticize based on how the game's gone so far. Your third base has no Vespene mining, and you're adding on 2 more production structures, which both take a lot of gas to make any units from. And the third base is now founded because he didn't float it away fast enough. It's going to die. So yeah, this has not worked out for Freedom here. The Stalkers find the base. We'll be able to take it down and knock back down to 2 base is Freedom. He's going to counter push. But with the army supply advantage that instability has, we'll have an upgrade advantage for the next little while here. And not a whole lot of splash damage here. Only a couple Widow Mines, which could just get blinked away from. Does find an Immortal, which is a nice start. Widowmines don't really go off on much there, unfortunately. Warping in Zealots in the main base to kind of pincer a little bit, and heavily overstimmed is this bio. Only 2 medevacs here, and maybe able to blink on top if he tries to lift up to get away. So, does not blink on top, but only 1 Marauder, 1 medevac making it out. An excellent fight for Instability here. A couple Ravens do make it away as well, but a massive supply advantage now for Instability. And yeah, the gold base, I think, was a little bit too slow. So by the time it was really beginning to provide any real value, Instability was expanding there too and found it. So now, KJ is dropping on 2 more command centers. But as we can see, he's got 3 starports, but he can only produce 3 units at a time because he doesn't have the money. Granted, he doesn't have reactors on them either, but in theory, then why not just make 1 or 2 starports with reactors and get the same effect for cheaper? So I think going into Liberators a little bit too early. Somewhat ill-advisedly, this bunker is everything now. If it breaks, I don't think Freedom can hold from there. Does bring in 3 Liberators. Will Instability choose to blink on top? It looks like no, maybe. She's thinking about it. Warps in 7 more Stalkers. I think that's a good choice there. We'll be able to blink on top, I think, and take all of those down now. And indeed, 2 go down right off the bat. He's not targeting down the last one, but is killing a lot of SCVs. And finally, there goes the last Liberator. The Army of Freedom is gone, and his extra base is dying as well. And I think we're going to see a GG momentarily here. As Instability's macro looking good. Had a very good opening build, obviously, against the build of Freedom. Blink Robo is really about as good as it gets against a Widowmine drop. And that early Adept obviously shutting down the natural base mining as well was huge. And it results in a towering victory. GG. Very well played there out of both players, but Instability finding some edges, managing to rotate that into a victory. We'll bring her to the 1-0 lead.
I think you said it best. Instability really macroed excellent, right? That was really well done, and you just ran him over. And in the meantime, I think KJ was really reliant on that 3rd base that came too late and just could not keep up with the economy that Instability had. But yeah, impressive win there by Instability. We're now going to be jumping on to Pride of Altaris.
Yeah, which Pride of Altaris was like, in theory, a pretty standard map, unless someone decides to make it weird with that gold base. Like, the only weird thing about it is that there's a super gold base outside of your 3rd. And if people decide to rush that, the games get really weird. But if they don't, it plays out pretty standard. And PvT, I feel like both players are going to be kind of uncomfortable rushing that. So we'll see. They may try it, but this may be a more standard game. We won't see any Widowmine drops as quickly, at least, as we did in the previous game or something like that. But maybe they will make it weird. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, also, I think the map is a little bit big, and there's a lot of expansion. So I like the map itself. It really provides exciting games and some different games from our norm. So that's why I like it. But yeah, the gold base really does add a lot of spice to the matchups themselves. So, but yeah, that looks like we're ready. Players are ready, and let's get this going.
Alrighty.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
All right, in the bottom right-hand side of Pride of Altaris LE, we have our red Terran player. He is
KJ Freedom.
And his opponent up 1-0. The purple Protoss, she is
Instability.
all right. So yeah, Pride of Altaris, somewhat of a weird map, as I mentioned. We are seeing quick scouts out of both players, I think, possibly wanting to make sure that there are no gold-based shenanigans going down. Although this could potentially be a second proxy barracks. I don't really expect that, but it is a possibility. And heading up into the main base is Instability. Now, Freedom did catch her probe inside with a supply depot last time, so may opt for that again. Oh, this SCV positioning was very unfortunate for Freedom there. Wound up taking a lot more damage than I think he was expecting. How quickly, or how slowly, I should say, it rotated around. You have a full eBay block going down in the natural, and Instability's not scouting it at all. Has no idea this is going on right now, and is about to move down and find out. That's very unfortunate. Will now see it. How will she react, though? I think you need to see probably a Zealot. Need to make sure she gets that second pylon up, though, and it's already late at this point, I think. Oh, and a gas block. Freedom pulling out all the stops here. His Instability, I think, is maybe looking to just... Oh, yeah, take the gold base. I mean, why not? I think this is a pretty good option here. Her pylon is super duper late, way, way later than it should be. This is what I was going to talk about before she took the gold base, is you can't get thrown off by this. You still got to get your second pylon up. And she definitely forgot that. So now at a big supply block, Reaper's going straight for the gold base. So Freedom knows what's going on here, I think. Or no, I'm sorry. SCV is just going to be scouting around, I think, maybe worried about some sort of proxy Void Ray all-in. None to be found, of course. But there's a gold base, which I expect the Reaper should find pretty quickly. Making more than one slow Zealot is a little weird here out of Instability. She's got one already out and another on the way. She's also getting a Twilight. So maybe you're going to go for some sort of weird Haas-esque gold base mass Zealot rush. A third Zealot on the way. Surely that's what this has got to be, right? An Adept now coming out as well. Trying to hide the Zealots, maybe? Oh man, this is a weird one out of Instability for sure. Pulls a lot of probes, but will push the Reaper into scouting this Twilight Council, I think. Yeah, Charge is now being chronoed out. I wonder if you think this is maybe Blink here. He's looking around to try and find any expos. The gold base is now finished up, and she just recalled a ton of probes that are completely unprotected because she didn't plan ahead. So a little unfortunate there, to be sure. Absolutely should have recalled the Zealot or an Adept with that. Not. Will lose a few probes because of that. I don't know why she's not pulling probes at this point. This is very sloppy. And lost 4 probes, and she could have lost like 2, or maybe even 1. So a little unfortunate there. Adding on more gateways, though, is getting charged down. I wonder if KJ reads this, though. Yeah, I mean, we're going up to, 6 gateways? I do have to wonder if he's going to see this coming. He has made a natural base, but he's kept it up in the main. He's now adding on a bunker on the low ground. I think he's going to try and push down to the low ground at the exact wrong time. Like right when the Zealots hit, and that may wind up hurting a lot. But we'll see. He is putting... Oh, yeah, he canceled the bunker on the high ground. That's a little unfortunate. I think repairs will be able to keep him alive on the high ground, but he might lose all of his ground units. I think this is a decent adaptation out of Instability. A very funny one, to be sure, but I think... Oh, my gosh. Can this SCV really not... The SCV really can't see this proxy. Oh, my gosh, that's hilarious. The proxy's hidden from that SCV just barely. Anyways, I think he now knows what's going on. He pulled back up onto the high ground, I think, didn't he? at least partially. Where'd the rest of his units go? Oh, he's doing a drop at the gold base. My bad. He's at the gold. Warpins of charge lots should be able to keep this alive, I'd imagine. Does kill all the units on the low ground. There's a turret there even. I think you got to just charge the high ground and try and bust that wall before he gets repairs up. He's just going to be able to lift off. Not warping it at home is a big mistake here. Needs to defend that gold base. I mean, at this point, you're in a big advantage. You just stay on the low ground and relax in a spa for the rest of your life with your massive economy relative to your opponents. Instead, she's trying to break him, and it's not going to work. There's no chance for this to work. Yeah, it just needs to sit there. Looks like she did leave. Okay. Will recall all the way back now with all the zealots. I think that's a mistake as well. I think you just hang out in the natural base and warping at home. I mean, you do have 6 gateways. Not the biggest deal, though. We'll be able to get mining back up at her base soon, I'd imagine. Freedom is moving back down onto the low ground. That is a bold move when you know there's that many zealots on the map. Guess he does have 3 Widow Mines, so should end up being fine. But a hectic situation for sure. It's hard to read as both players. Instability now adding on more economy. We'll have that full gold base, and Freedom really doesn't have anything to deal with that. And even his drops. I mean, charge lots are one of the best units for dealing with drops, especially when they don't have stim. And she has 6 gateways. So Instability is going to have an absolute ball of a time defending against drops. Or should have a ball of a time, is what I should say. One other nice effect of going for all these zealots is that Freedom is pretty much forced to go for marine drops because you need your Widow Mines at home to deal with the massive amounts of charge lots that are going to be killing you. If you lose your Widow Mines on the other side of the map at this point, you're probably just dead. So another nice little side effect, so to speak. Freedom chilling with a massive supply block. Just now starts up another depot, so kind of unfortunate there as well, but not the end of the world. Stability just needs to send her zealots over, does send them over. Freedom is forced to pick back up. But now there should be enough units to defend in both places, so this drop should have gotten the last bit of damage it'll get in the wild. Freedom, obviously very good at keeping his harassing units alive, generally speaking. Now, we saw that against Freedom a few weeks back, and in a lot of his other matches. Walling off, I think Freedom is still expecting an all-in, and Instability has moved on with their life. It's setting up a Roth IRA, a 401k, etc. And just macroing out of this, getting Colossi. So I think he's misread continual aggression here, potentially. But he does have 2 orbitals. I think if we don't see a 3rd base soon, it's really going to start hurting him, though. So does he have... He does not have drilling claws, so that's another thing I'd really like to see soon. It's really hard to be aggressive with an army as Terran if you have slow Widow Mines. Because they burrow painfully slowly. By the time they burrow, their units are already on top of your units, so your Widow Mines just shoot both of y'all's units instead of just the enemy units, which is not great. You have a 4 Widow Mine drop coming in on the left into that natural base now. There's not a whole lot of probes here. Does just drop 2 mines. And then he's going to go into the main base. There are units there, which will get aggroed onto the first mine, but not the second. Oh, no! 10 probes do go down for 4 Widow Mines. Very good damage out of Freedom. Will lose all 4 mines, I believe. Maybe not. They are permacloaked mines, and actually, Instability, she does have an observer. I don't know where the observer is. Oh, the observer is literally sitting in her army, and she's just not going over to kill these. Oh my gosh. And now the one in the main base is going to fire again as well. So that's a little unfortunate, to be sure. And pop, there it goes. 3 more probes. I think not expecting an armory to already be done was Instability, because she really did not react to this properly at all. Didn't even bother to try and clean them up, so I think just assumed they were cleaned up and didn't realize that there was an armory up. So a little unfortunate. Big army now going to be coming in. to the gold base. There is a shield battery here, and the Zealots have meandered their way over. Should definitely battery overcharge. Should definitely battery overcharge. You're just going to let him snipe your base. Okay. Not the best, but does get a good amount of units on the flip side of things. Recalls into the main base. Does not have blink up yet. Just recalled stalkers. Why are we doing that? Oh, this is bad. Oh my gosh, look at the Artosis pylon. Holy cow. Instability, I think, getting pulled a little bit apart. A bunch of her probes are still mining from the gold base when she has a completely empty natural. So I think just struggle busting a little bit. Not quite sure how to macro out of the build that she did. I think it was a smart adaptive build, but just not with the right follow-up out of it. It's hard to know exactly what to do when you're playing out of a position you haven't been in before. So very understandable. And this base is going to get sniped again. Not in position, unfortunately, and does not have spotting units out. Is killing more and more Marauders, but KJ Freedom, I mean, he's doing good damage, but he's also not made any SCVs in a long time. He's still at 27 SCVs. Targeting the wrong medevac. A little unfortunate. Not the end of the world, though. Does get the other one. He'll probably lose 2 stalkers. 2 stalkers, but does clean up 2 medevacs, one of which was full of units. So pretty good overall. The thing is, KJ's like trying to keep her pulled apart and then just come in with the 1-2 finishing punch, but his army is just not kept up because he's only at 27 probes, or 27 SCVs this whole time, I should say. This gold base is a cool idea, but I feel like you could just float your main base over there. You only have 20 SCVs instead of spending those 400 minerals. We'll be able to make another orbital out of it, and is going into just a ton of liberators really quickly. So should be able to stay alive here, which is nice. If that gold base gets found, though, that'll hurt. Double drop coming into the natural base of Instability. He's on the other side of the map and is not reacting at all. Sorry, it's actually a double liberator. Pretty late pull here. Going to be about 15 probes going down at this point. Not reacting into the main base at all. Ay, ay, ay. That hurts a lot here for Instability. She's on 4 bases, but down to 31 probes. Still, though, it's KJ is doing all this damage, but he's also not macroing. He's at 23 SCVs. Instability somehow not checking the gold base this whole time. Walked right by it. It's unfortunate. Yeah, it looks like KJ just wants to go for a finishing blow, but still way down in army supply because he has been bleeding units this whole time to do this damage. I think he's adapting a little bit. Now he's just going to macro up and turtle up super hard and has just been throwing up units, hidden bases everywhere. Does have the hidden gold. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like KJ has a good idea here. He's just bleeding too many units to execute it. And even with, I think Instability definitely struggling a little bit here, but still managing to keep ahead, I believe. And I think in a pretty strong position at this point. Is adding on a Stargate so that she can start dealing with all of those Liberators. And does have 4 bases up, so going to be able to produce a lot of probes. Is continuing to produce them all the time, up to 8 gateways. Not making any units at the moment, but neither is Freedom. It seems like they both just decided now is the time to macro, and they both stopped making any units at all. What I don't like here out of Instability is total inaction. She's not moving out. She's not positioning at all with her army. She's sort of just chilling at her gold base. She doesn't have any spotting units out. She hasn't taken the watchtower with the Zealot. And you really need information when you're playing against a player that's being as much of a harasser as Freedom has been. And yeah, Instability, I think, being a little bit too inactive. If anything's going to bring her back into this game, it is that. As she also, actually, funnily enough, neither player has made any +1 upgrades in this game. Everybody's at 0-0 across the board in every way imaginable. Thank you. Liberator does siege up, gets 5 more probes, which is nice. And it's with these 4 bases online for KJ that I really begin to become worried for instability. She is adding on Tempests while Freedom is adding on BCs, which in theory is good. But BC Tempest is hard to micro for the Tempest player, I would say. Initially speaking, the hard micro is on the Protoss, not the Terran. Once you get good with the micro, then the Terran has to micro a bit more. But we're not, I don't think, at that point yet, as I doubt Instability has that much experience playing against BCs. As it's not a terribly common thing to see. Gold base is fully mining, but it is starting to mine out, whereas Freedom's is much more fresh. It's continuing to add on more bases. Really would like to see any sort of upgrade out of either player. We do have Yamato Cannon coming in, weapon refit, so there's that. A weird game, for sure. I think this is a very weird game for both players. And so they're both struggling a little bit, I want to say. The gold base, I think, was just spotted. I want to say that Instability just saw the gold base of Freedom. She'd sent a unit down to the bottom corner of the map, and yep, indeed she has seen it. Will she move out and just kill it? I don't know. Could. Will? Who knows? I think she's still busy on her side of the map just macroing. I don't think she's actually realized that she saw a command center there. Has taken the center watchtower, so that's good. It's getting some vision out there. I doubt she's ever going to find this top right base, but if she can deny the gold, I don't think she needs to. Has about a 40 supply advantage in the army, and I mean, she just has all the unit counters here. She's got Tempest versus BCs, and then Colossus versus mostly Marine Bio. Mostly, largely, somewhere in there. A lot of Marine Bio. There are some Widow Mines, which is nice, but there's 28 Zealots. I think the Bio is really just going to get absolutely slaughtered on the ground here. So the Widow Mines do burrow, and the probes say, "I've got a different base. I don't need this. I don't need this base, man." Gonna trade gold for gold, it looks like. I think this hurts more for KJ as he's mined out less of the gold. And he's gonna lose an orbital, which means Mule's gone as well. However, pushing up into the 3rd/4th base of instability is Freedom's army. BC's into the main base, but it's only 3. He's going to be able to target down this base, and Instability's base trading, but doesn't even know where her opponent's base is, and is not running any of her probes. This is something we see a little bit more at this level, is like, you've just got to run your workers when you're base trading. There's zero reason not to run your workers in this situation, and players never do it. Okay, finally we do see Instability running with a few workers, I think, from her base. So that's good. That's good. There's enough Tempests to kill the BCs pretty handedly, I want to say. I think the army advantage absolutely goes to Instability here. It's just whether or not she can utilize that army in the right way against Freedom here. So all of these probes will die. Could have gotten away. A little unfortunate. Some of them do make it away somewhat, but I think they might just wander right back into the heat of things. Zealot is chasing the Widow memes across the map, and still, by the way, a completely unupgraded game. Actually, Freedom does have +1 ranged on his BCs, so there's that. That's helpful. Tempests are chasing down the orbital command, but little does she know he has a full-fledged mining base in the top right with 3 command centers. So, not going to be the greatest, and only keeps 4 probes alive. Freedom is charging down the left-hand side. Instability's playing pretty slow here, not as decisive as Freedom. Just playing very decisively. Widow Mines do go off on the army. I think she has scouted that top base now. Indeed she has. She's got a pylon there and everything. So won't get eliminated, and I think is going to be able to kill all the buildings of Freedom. So Instability might be coming back into this base trade scenario here. At least a little bit. Freedom floats 1 base away, leaves the others to die, maybe? A little questionable, but I'll take it. All the SCB is going to go down, I think. Only 1 left. So if that other orbital goes down, it's going to be real hard for him to remake his stuff. He is starting up another command center, which is nice, but I think this other CC is going to go down. Stability needs to just make a base and defense it, I want to say. Has not done that yet, though. Oh, that full medevac. Oh, and he's so overstimmed. I think KJ's definitely overstimmed to the max here. That is very unfortunate. Instability has so many buildings spread all over the map that the BCs aren't going to be able to get like a YOLO jump on top of them either, I don't think. And the Bioforce for Freedom, it does go down. It's not quite blinked on top of that last medevac. But 48 army supply to 118. Instability can basically just camp up and macro up from here, I think, and win with no problem. But if she does find this last SCV and that command center, it's basically a guaranteed win, and she's headed for it. And KJ does not have enough to defend here. 2 Widow Mines and 5 BCs do not win this. I'm sorry to tell you. At least I don't think they do. We're about to find out. Attacks before the Tempest show up. Move commands the Tempest. Ooh. Uh-oh. Well, there goes his ability to get away. I think that was an accidental blink, possibly. Has Yamato, but I have not seen him use it yet. It's just been sitting off of cooldown. Should be able to chase down these BCs, and it looks like we are going to see a 2-0 victory out of Instability here. It's very nicely done out of the young Protoss. Misclick. Oh, says Freedom. Very unfortunate for sure. And it's going to be a 2-0 victory for Instability here. We're going to be headed into our next series. I don't know what to tell you guys. This game's over. I'm sorry, okay? I just don't see Instability and his army of 2 Marauders and 6 Marines winning this. Did I say Instability? Freedom. And this is the last building, too, isn't it? No, he's building another one elsewhere. Nope, GG. All right. Well, quite the series. A crazy game there. Very good adaptation from the eBay block out of Instability, I feel like. And it wound up paying off in spades there. But we'll go ahead and talk to our players now. We are undeafening them. So,
Yeah, good
go ahead and
games.
take it away, Seth.
Yeah, good games. I was looking forward to Game 3, and it got really crazy there in Game 2. But I think that's, that's what Pride of Altaris does, right? It makes simple games get a little chaotic in the end. But that was a really good job there by Instability. Just stabilizing in the end, macroing up, and then just had enough units to be able to win out that base trade. But let's first talk to KJ. KJ, just like your practice with Neutrophil, unfortunately fell 0-2. How do you think the games went, and what would you have done better? KJ, can't hear you.
Yeah, game 1 she defended the mine drop pretty well. So that put me behind, and then of course I had the ill-advised attack. I just kind of lost. So game 1 was pretty elementary, right?
And then game 2, I have the same problem when I'm Terran. I don't know when to transition to go macro or continue defending or attacking. And I think that was the time when she decided to macro and you fell so far behind economy. What were you thinking in terms of your position at game 2 throughout?
It was winnable. I just didn't know when to attack. So my plan was to go more BCs, but I kind of got impatient. I'm like, oh, I see another base. Let me go attack. I probably could have defended at home. I'm not quite sure. But the battle cruisers, if you can, attack and then teleport somewhere else, it's really a pain in the butt. So I like myself on that on the base trade. But really like that one spot. I'm not sure. I think I could have dragged that game on and pull out a win, but kind of screwed up the last teleport. I don't know why it teleported to where I meant to click to the base that was left over.
Yeah.
Plus find the other hit base, but it doesn't matter. She played well, and that's.
Yeah, she had an overwhelming army at that point, and I think she had enough Tempests to be able to deal with the remaining BCs. But yeah, I mean, that happens. ET, do you have any questions here for KJ?
Yeah, so it felt like in game two, obviously, you went for that eBay block, and then instability went, well, I guess I'll take the gold base. It felt like you didn't quite realize that at first. At what point did you kind of figure out that, oh, I think she's taking the gold base as well? Or was that kind of your plan all along to force that out with the eBay block? I was just kind of
Yeah,
curious.
normally I would know, but I was kind of out of sync with that. Normally I would punish that gold base, but it's a little slow in realizing that tonight. Usually that's something that I know is gonna happen. Hard to defend the pro team. Didn't punish.
Right. Yeah, I figured it must not have occurred to you because otherwise I feel like there would have been a bunker, going up there, and then the Reaper just kind of
I was
denies
a
mining
little
for the rest
slow.
of the time.
Exactly. I was a little slow in thinking tonight. That's normally I would be on top of that, but a little
Okay.
slow. And
All right. Well, yeah, that was my main question. I think it was really chaotic games, but really good, really entertaining games overall. So well played.
Yeah, well played, and congratulations to Instability. She's really well positioned for the #1 seed here in Code S. Games 1 and 2, I think the thing that annoys you a lot are those Widow Mines, especially the permacloak ones. How do you deal with them, and what's going through your mind whenever you see those?
I think generally what's going through my mind is how the heck did my observer die? I never noticed it's dead, and then suddenly it is. So
Gotcha. And then game number 2 there, I guess you did not know or weren't aware about that gold base that the Terran had for a long time. What did you think when you finally saw it was there and was fully mining?
sorry, what? I missed part of that.
Oh, so in game 2, you didn't see the Terran gold base for a very long time. And so I guess, by the time you scouted it, you saw it's, fully mining, mules are being dropped there. Were just something that you forgot to check there? Because you were really that close of seeing that with your army when you were heading back.
I don't know, I meant to scout for the gold base, and like I did on Blackburn, but I just sort of forgot to, and when I saw it I was like, oh no.
Got it. Yeah, with all the chaos going on, sometimes you miss the regular things that you go through your checklist, right? ET, do you have any questions here for Instability?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, I guess you kind of covered it with the whole observer accidentally dying thing. I'm guessing that the charge lot thing was just a complete on-the-fly adaptation based off of the eBay block that didn't get scouted for a while. Is that true? Because if so, that was a really good adaptation. I was just wondering, was that at all planned? Or is that just like, well, I've got a gold base, so I may as well make a whole bunch of zealots?
It was not at all planned. Like you said, I realized that my reaction was super late, even with not scouting it. Like, I just forgot to pull the probes and stuff. So I thought, this map has a gold base, I might as well go for a charge lot all-in, but then I messed that up because I'm really bad at all-ins.
All right, fair enough. Well, that was my question, Seth.
Gotcha. Good games. Congratulations again. Instability. We won't have this interview too long because I know KJ has to get out of here. He still has a long night to go. But good games, and look forward to your future games, both of you.
GG.
Alright, GG's. Alright, so now we're gonna transition to our next match. It's gonna be another one of those chaotic games, and 2v2 by nature is that way. And it's gonna be between the Blind Leading the Deaf and the Purifiers. Now, the Blind Leading the Deaf had 2 tough games already, right? They had GG Izzy, which they actually won, and then they faced Kodayo, which is the champion from last year, and so they've had a tough schedule in the beginning there, but this is going to be a very good indicator where they are if they're going to make the playoffs against another tough opponent, the Purifiers. So let's see if we can bring in our players. We can interview them. And there it is. Let's switch to the video. And let's add them in. Alright, we're bringing in let's see if we can oh, joining us now we have Chumlee, Rex, Ghost Chant, and Cyan. I think we're just missing Ghost Chant's video, but while he gets that up and running, there he is. Alright, it's a full house!
I didn't hit start.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome! Looking forward to this 2v2 game. Let's start with the blind leading the death. I know we haven't seen you in a while. You had a long break there. But what do you think your chances are tonight against this tough Purifiers team?
I thought they may be decent. You know, I would say no higher than decent, but certainly no lower than decent. So, you know, in that range.
Okay. Chumlee, anything to add?
No, I think that's about the state of it. We've got a decent chance. We have practiced more than last time, but not as much as we'd want to. But you know, we're gonna give it our best shot.
Gotcha. And the Purifiers. Well, actually, before we move to the Team Purifiers, ET, do you have any questions here for?
I was just gonna say it's nice to have Rex joining us here all the way from apparently Poland, based off the background. But I guess so. I feel like in terms of styles in teams, the Purifiers are relatively similar. I want to say to Kodeo, they're generally fairly aggressive. Do you feel like you've managed to get practice against more aggressive teams since your match against Kodeo? And just kind of how are you feeling against that play style?
I don't think we've gotten too much more practice against aggressive teams. I wouldn't say that. No, I don't think I would. But, you know, it's okay. We just, we need to not do terribly at it like we did last time, and everything will be fine. That was our mistake. Being bad, you know.
Okay, so just not being bad this time. Perfect.
Yes, yeah, that's the plan, so.
Okay, well, that was my question, so.
Alright, well, let's talk to the Team Purifiers now. Last time we saw you, you guys had a very impressive win against Little Dom. And so have you guys had any chance to practice since then? And like what I asked them, how do you feel about tonight?
So, we have not actually had a chance to practice. We have, unlike in some other situations, we've actually discussed what we wanted to do, but I know me in particular, my manager is leaving at work, and we're trying to ramp up for the bit of uncertainty that's going to be happening when we have no one at the helm at my location. So I have not had time for practice or playing, but we've had discussions. We've at least been like, hey, we can't get on, but what are some things we should be looking at doing going into this game?
Gotcha. Cyan, do you have anything to add?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, just been busy with everything, kids and sports and regular work, and so it's just been busy. Haven't really had that much time to play, so. But yeah, we've been talking, we've been strategizing somewhat, so we'll see how it goes.
All right. ET, do you have any questions before we get started?
Oh, man. I guess I'd ask, I mean, I don't want to unfairly characterize you guys, but I do get the feeling from watching games and stuff that you're relatively aggressive. Would you agree with that characterization? And then also, have you been able to practice specifically against them when you talk about what you're wanting to do, or just kind of like, hey, this strategy would be good?
Yeah, some of the things, yeah.
Are you sure?
Some of the builds we have, yeah, we have practiced previous, you know, during ladder and stuff like that. So, and I don't know if we're terribly aggressive, but I mean, we do like to put some early pressure on, but I don't know if we're actually going to do that this time.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Well, that's all the questions I had.
To add to that, you've seen my 1v1s. Aggression. Middle name. What are you talking about?
Trying to psych them out. Now let's stop.
All right, fair enough. That's all the questions I had, Seth.
All right, well, I think we're ready to go. I will talk to you guys after the match, and you guys can go ahead and go to your respective channels. You guys don't have to stay here. Good luck and have fun.
Thanks. Hey, do you guys mind to move me again?
Oh, yeah. We will move you
Alright.
down to lobby 2. There
Not
we
only are you allowed to go to your respective channels, you have to.
go. Yeah, that would be a audio hack. Knows exactly
Yeah.
what's going on. But let's take a quick peek on the map vetoes. Let's pull it up really quick, and then I mentioned this before. I'm doing production here for the first time, so things are a little bit slower than usual. But there's our map vetoes, and I think everybody is good to go.
Yeah,
Let's
so while we're loading in, I can talk a little bit. So we're starting off with Emerald City. This is a fairly large map. It's got a shared main and a shared natural with only 2 entrances. So it's pretty defensive, pretty macro-oriented. And then Arctic Dream is sort of as far to the opposite as you can get in the 2v2 map pool. Separate mains, your naturals are pretty far away from each other, and it's a fairly short map. So we're probably more likely to see aggression there. Although we may see it both places, based on what Ghost Chant said. And then Heavy Artillery is just a weird map. It's just very strange. It's got gold bases, it's got mineral walls, it's hard to read, and it can go either way. So we'll see how it goes, but we are loading into game here on Emerald City LE.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
All right. We are here in the upper left-hand side of the map. We have our orange Protoss player. He is
Cyan.
And his ally in the yellow, Terran player. He is
Ghost Chant.
Together, they are
Team Purifiers.
in the bottom right-hand side, the purple Terran player. He is
Chong-Li.
and his ally, the blue Zerg. She is
Rex.
and they are
The blind leading the death.
all right. So we have an expansion out of Rex. Barracks and gas out of Chumley. We've got normal builds all around, really, is what we're looking at thus far. So yeah, Cyan and Ghost Chant, they can macro, obviously. Cyan, very solid player. Ghost Chant, we've seen very solid as well in that Codes. So 2 pretty strong players. They are able to macro, but a lot of times in team games, aggression just pretty much is the name of the game. If you're just trying to macro and your opponents decide to do something to you, you're probably going to die. So you've got to keep that in mind. I do have expansions out of all players, so at least going to be a little bit of a more delayed aggression if anyone does opt for it. As I said, Emerald City, it is a big map, so I wouldn't be shocked if we do see, out of any of the maps, a more macro-focused game on this one. Reapers coming out for both our Terran players. Queens and Lings on the way. We do have an Adept on the way out for Cyan. And a Quick Factory following up for Ghost Chant and Chumley each. Ghost Chant's Reaper is chasing down the Reaper of Chumley, who's wandering blissfully unaware of what is about to happen to him. The Lings go poking out. We'll have to run back to hide from that Reaper away in their hobbit hole and try and keep him away from the precious little drone boys. Marine will be able to help push this Reaper back. Gotta be careful though, the Marine does not regen HP, and the Reaper I guess you'll just have to see that for yourself. Reaper does deny the SCV on the command center right before it finishes up, actually. So Chumley's Reaper definitely getting the gold medal in this Reaper Olympics, of which there's only 2 competitors. Third base coming down. We do have a Twilight Council on the way for Cyan. Starport on the way for Ghost Chant. This Chumley has not added on one of his own just yet. Reaper's trying to target down this Marine. Oh, and he gets it with the grenade. Oh, does manage to take it down. Link speed is nearly finished up, so maybe able to chase that Reaper down, but nothing too significant happening just yet. We do have charge on the way now. More Lings being added on. Lots of tanks coming out for Chumley, so it looks like they are trying to deal with aggression by Chumley adding on more tanks, more bunkers, things like that early on into the game. Definitely not something I said they should do, so don't give me credit for that. Don't even think about it. Nonetheless, they are playing a bit more defensively, it looks like. Pretty quick Lair, Evo Chamber, and Roach Warren out of Rex. As all players are macroing up. We do have charge on the way, though, so it looks like there will be a pretty big 2-base aggression, most likely out of Ghost Chant and Cyan. Ghost Chant adding on Liberators and Hellions. Just a few stem Marines behind it, it looks like. As it's going to be lots of charge lots. If Roaches make it out for Rex, that's going to be really, really good for the blind leading the deaf. But if it's just pure Ling and a couple tanks against charge lots and Hellions, well, that's not going to go so well. Let's just put it that way. Hellions are moving out on the map. There's currently only 4 Lings. We're up to 44 drones with almost 10 more on the way. I think needs to stop droning soon. Rex does have that +1 on the way, adding on additional gases. The Hellions do come into her third base, though, and roasting and toasting away, it looks like. Liberator going to head into that natural base down the line as well. Queens do manage to push them back. Thus far, we do have 5 drones down. Going up onto that high ground to deny even more mining. Very nice out of Ghost Chant here. Good knowledge of the map. Sieging up the Liberator. Ghost Chant, very fast player, flying at well over 200 average APM. Meanwhile, Rex and Chumley desperately trying to get a defense back together here. Maybe be able to find this Queen. Will Ghost Chant. Funnily enough, bounces the Queen to where it's actually going to be shooting Hellions and not the Reaper. So I think that grenade was a little bit counterproductive, perhaps. And actually, Cyan and Ghost Chant, I think, have decided they've gotten enough damage with these attacks and decided to just pull all the way back and macro up instead. They're adding on third bases. Liberator will get caught by the Queen and does fall. So pretty nice for the blind and the deaf. Fairly even in supply overall. Ghost Chant getting a good amount of drone damage done. Rex should be able to macro back out of that fairly quickly, I'd imagine. Blink, Storm, and +1/+1 on the way for Cyan. Ghost Chant adding on tanks. Going into that Bioforce. Chumley doing, well, the exact same. Upgrades, +1 is ahead for Chumley, but he's only getting 1 upgrade, whereas Ghost Chant is grabbing 2. Rex now droning back up, but a little bit slow on that, I want to say. Roach speed is coming down. And the third base floating out for Chumley. Slightly behind that of Ghost Chance, but not too far behind by any means. Rex floating 9 larvae at the moment. Make that 10. Really needs to be making a lot of drones, I think, but perhaps not wanting to over-drone. Does now start up a full 10. So definitely fixing that up. +2 ranged on the way for the Roaches of Rex. Probably going to add on a Hydralisk Den in the near future, I want to say. It's a double drop, does move out for Ghost Chant. There's no vision in the airspace for the blind and the deaf, so they really are kind of their namesake at the moment. There will be no forewarning of this double medevac drop before it hits the main, and if he drops it in the right spot, he should be able to unload all 16 Marines and then run in with them fully stemmed, and that will rip apart a base of drones faster than you can say, "Where's my drones?" Which is pretty quick, if you ask me. So, +2/+2 on the way for Cyan. Rex adding on a 4th base. The 3rd base of Chumley is done. Has combat shields coming up as well, adding on more and more production. So Ghost Chant is dropping directly in, it looks like. A little bit farther back, but still in view. Looks like Rex did not see it coming, however. Will pull the drones. And is going to be able to snipe a spawning pool, it looks like. Not the most important, as Rex is going for Roach Hydra. But the push on the front does find a tank. Big storm does come down, but now the Roaches are coming in. There is a tank sieged up for both sides. And the storm's continuing to come down. Lots of tanks out for Ghost Chant, though, and I think they've overrun their opponents here. Have Ghost Chant and Cyan a little bit slow on the defense of the drops and the Hellions, I think, from the Blind and the Death, and falling behind in that macro as a result. Do have tanks on the high ground, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And even if they do manage to hold, a lot of damage has happened here. I say that, but maybe is trying to add on some Ravagers. Does have a 4th base, now a 3rd base up. She can retake this 3rd base. Might not be the worst, but a gold base is down for Cyan now. Ghost Chant on a strong 3-base economy as well, soaring in that supply, has excellent macro, as we'd expect of a Kodas player like himself. Chumley dropping in. Oh, the Colossus may get found. That's a nice little boon there for the Blind and the Deaf. Oh, barely does chase it down. Very nice, but the reinforcing army is large and in charge for the Purifiers. And I think the Blind leading the Deaf, not quite aware that there was, in fact, another attack coming in. It's just pulling back, morphing Ravagers pretty far up front, not in a very safe position. Tanks are shelling away for Chumley now, but bleeding a lot of units here unnecessarily are the Blind and the Deaf. Purifier's kind of trying to push the issue a little aggressively here. I don't know how I feel about this one. Are going to lose all their tanks, are going to lose all of their units. Definitely a little bit over-eager there, I would say, out of the Purifiers. However, I think they're still in a pretty commanding position here, especially with Rex losing everything in the main base to a drop. Is down to 33 workers. So, yeah, it's definitely a commanding position for the Purifiers, but fighting back a little bit is the Blind and the Deaf for sure. They just continue to push out into these not safe positions where they aren't protected by tanks for no real reason. So a little bit unfortunate on the positioning there, but they're just trying to macro, stay alive, and of course having a bit of a rough time with it as the aggression is being plied by their opponents. Double Colossus now coming in. Obviously, the gold base economy, 4 bases, including a gold for Cyan, is absolutely roaring. Chumley and Rex both struggling to really produce and get a bank, whereas their opponents are just casually sitting on large banks with large armies. Chumley is able to pull back through the grass, has a lot of tanks set up here, so Purifiers will not be able to push into that, but Rex just continuing to suffer at sub 50 supply. Chumley's actually keeping up with the opponents, but that's partially because his bases have just been behind the bases of Rex, so his stay alive while Rex's die. So a little unfortunate there. Big drop on top of the tanks here for Ghost Chant. There is a full bunker of Marines, but I don't know that that's going to be enough. Does manage to kill one of the tanks, which is nice. But Cyan keeping him busy with his army, and then the army of Ghost Chant gets a strong foothold in the natural for the Blind leading the Deaf. And we're starting to see Chumley's supply dip as well. Natural base goes down, no repair, and a lot of exposed tanks about to get taken out by these charge lots here. Pushing into the natural base of Rex. This is pretty much her only mining remaining, and GG is called. Okay, well, we'll be heading into game number 2. Very strong showing out of the Purifiers there in that first game. And I think just some very minor things causing the slip-ups. Out of the blind, leading the deaf. No overlords in the airspace to notify that that double drop was coming, which got a lot of damage. Continual drops just kept coming in there after that. They did not have enough units to deal with it. And the tanks not being sieged at the front. All right, so it's going to be Arctic Dream LE, a much smaller map, as I mentioned. And potentially a lot more aggressive of a map. We are just getting our players into games. So yeah, Arctic Dream, you have separate main bases, so cheeses are a little bit harder to hold, and your natural bases are not very close together either. You do have pocket naturals, which can help with that, but a lot of players opt to take the front nets because it does help in the longer games if you do so. So it winds up not necessarily helping against cheese, because by the time you realize they're cheesing you, you've already dropped your base in the wrong spot. But we'll see what happens. As we are heading into game.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
All right, spawning in the bottom right-hand side of Arctic Dream. We have our purple Terran player. He is
Chomley.
And his ally in the blue, the Zerg. She is
Rex.
Together, they are
The blind leading the death.
And their opponents in the upper left-hand side, we have our yellow Terran player. He is
Ghost Chant.
Oh no. And his ally in the orange, the orange Protoss, he is
Cyan.
Together, they are
Team Purifiers.
And you may have heard my noises of dismay, and that's because Chumley is like 3 or 4 raxing, and Ghost Chant is going CC first, and is about to get hit harder than a truck. This is really, I mean, he went CC before Depot. This is as bad as it gets for dealing with a proxy barracks. He's going to have like nothing when Chumley hits. Rex is actually macroing, it looks like, a little bit. Maybe going to go for a little bit more of delayed Ling Flood. Has gotten a natural base. Cyan is going for a Cyber before Nexus, but I don't think he'll have enough units to save his ally here. Maybe if Ghost Chant immediately bunkers, just blind, which he probably will do, maybe it'll work. But I mean, there's already Marines nearly out for Chumley, and none even started for Ghost Chant. He's going 2 racks. We'll see. If he makes Marines out of these, that'll be good for him, but I think he might be making a Reaper or 2, which would not be very good. Yeah, he is making a Reaper, which has a longer build time than a Marine, which means longer until they actually know what's going on here. Did Cyan... Okay, Cyan is just now scouting as well, so they didn't even have a scout for this. So yeah, I think if the... Oh, and his scout gets denied! Oh no! Oh no! He isn't even making a bunker. Oh, man. I think Chumley's about to go, and there's going to be 2 Reapers, basically, and that's it. No bunker, no nothing. So I think Ghost Chant, he might not die because he can float his buildings, but it's going to be a rough spot for sure. Chumley's really banking up these Marines, which I think is actually going to work out in his favor here because he's up against these Reapers, which have now moved out on the map, so they're not even there to defend. The other Reapers won't be done very soon. Oh, and there's a Ling Flood now. Glaved Adepts on the way, but I feel like... Can I see Ghost Chant's face on the stream for this moment? He hasn't reacted. It's a little unfortunate that the guy getting all end here is a literal brick wall of emotions. We don't get very many live reactions. That's okay, though. Reapers, they can work well against Marines, but it's very hard to micro against this many Marines and not just lose all of your Reapers. The Lings are now here to prevent these. Oh, and the Adepts get caught. That's actually really unfortunate. Cyan needs to not try and save his teammate here. His teammate needs to float his buildings, and Cyan needs to try and just macro up on his own. That's like their only real chance here. Okay, Ghost Chant, no GG's out. Oh, and Cyan lost all of his units. GG! That was as much of a build order loss as I've ever seen, I think. That was very unfortunate. That was just super unfortunate. You can see Ghost Chant and Cyan aren't too messed up about it. Ghost Chant laughing it off, so that's good. But, hey, that's good for the blind. Leading the death, that means not another 2-0 like last match. Which will now be still their only 2-0. Every other match they've lost will be at worst a 2-1, or a 1-2, I should say. And this may not even be a loss, so we'll see. They may be able to pull it out through here. But we will be heading into the final game of our 2v2 here shortly. And it's going to be on Stronghold, I think it's called. If my memory serves me. Now, I could just click over to my other tab where I have the exact names of everything. That wouldn't be very fun. Heavy Artillery, not Stronghold. It's a similar, like, vibe. Heavy Artillery is going to be our final map. And like I said, it's a bit of a weird map. A little bit of a weird one. A little bit of a strange map. But, yeah, we'll see. Oh, yeah, double Terran. All right, there we go. Fixing the races really quick. So it is going to be Heavy Artillery for our final game of this series, at least. Well, maybe. Draw? Can we get a draw? Everybody type draw in chat. Draw. Don't draw. I have places to be. Like my bed. So, all right, we are counting down into the game. We'll be getting going here. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Here we go.
Watching FSL Season 5.
Spawning in the bottom left-hand side of Heavy Artillery LE, we have our yellow Terran player. He is
Ghost Chant.
His ally, the orange Protoss. He is
Cyan.
And they are
Team Purifiers.
But their opponents, if it ain't broke, don't fixing it. In the upper right-hand side, the blue Zerg player. She is
Rex.
And her ally, once again, Proxy Raxing. In the purple, he is
Chumley.
Together, they are
the blind leading the deaf.
Now, I don't think this is actually the best choice here for a couple reasons. One, your opponents are probably going to scout earlier this time, and they are. And two, there's like a pocket gold base. It's either just a regular pocket base or a pocket gold. Regular pocket base. So they're probably, at best, going to contain them on 3 bases, which is not really best. That's not great. In theory, they could kill them here, but I mean, I'm pretty sure their opponents are going to know what's going on, unless they think like, oh, maybe they're tricking us with the proxy, fake proxy barracks. But I doubt you're really going to think that. And with a Reaper already on the way out for Ghost Chan, obviously a little bit quicker than the previous game, just 1 or 2 bunkers holds this here. I mean, put a bunker or 2 on the high ground, easy game, easy life. Like, that's it. Curtains. So we'll see. I respect the brazenness on these folks. But I just don't think it's going to work out. We'll see, though. Ghost Chant really thinks he can jump down here, but he cannot. He can't even whistle. So anyways, mining out the minerals is a nice idea, but there's just nothing to be found. Although, they haven't made a bunker. There are shield batteries on the way, but they have not made a bunker. I think when you see that you're scouted here, you've got to just macro out of it, I think you can, because the Protos's base is delayed, and the Terran's base is probably a little delayed, and the Zerg does have an expansion. So I think you could macro out of this. I think you just drop bunkers on the low ground and just, heavy macro. But we'll see. They're going to try their best. They do manage to kill the initial Marine, do snipe the building SCV, are going to be able to take down the bunker as well before it gets finished. And if they can break this open, the Zerglings are going to do quite well. They need to just target down one of the buildings. They opt to target down this supply depot. His name is Joe, and now he's dead. Everyone say bye, Joe. The Marines do get on top of the Stalkers. Why are the... Oh, the Lings are targeting a... No! Oh, that's so painful. Okay, the Lings are on top of the Stalkers. One of the shield batteries is drained. The other one's getting low, but they opt to just move on and head for the probes. Oh, it's too close to call. Who knows what's going to happen? It's my job to tell you that. I think it's going to be a hold here, as there can be battery overcharge. Oh, wait, no, they don't have overcharge energy. I think they actually should have just gone on top of the Stalkers. If they'd done that, I think they win the game. I think they didn't check to see if there was a shield battery overcharge available. They just assumed there wouldn't be. Or there would be, but there wouldn't be, and that would have been the game. I think if they just gotten the Stalkers, that would have been it. And that's all she wrote. As it is now, I think they can still macro out, as Cyan did lose quite a few probes. He's only on 15. And Chumley is now making an orbital. He's still producing 4 Marines at a time. I think what would have been the best move is to go all in like they did, but just build a bunker or 2 on the low ground with your SCVs while you're fighting. Because then, even once you get pushed back, you can contain them for a little bit. Cyan is expanding now. We do have a 3rd base coming down for Rex, who is droning up hard. We'll see. I think the Purifiers may be able to just counterattack and kind of win this. Floating back the barracks now. It's going to be a while before they're any use now. They're just going to be floating and floating. Perhaps expecting just nothing but a follow-up all-in, though, is the Purifiers. They might not move out. And actually, Rex going to hide a 4th base as well. I like it. It's cheeky, cheeky Calaris. And a bunker on the high ground, just in case they get counterattacked, is good as well, I want to say. Lair is on the way. And there's no real tech out of their opponents yet. Starport just now dropping. There's not been a Twilight Council or a Robo or anything like that for Cyan. He is still only on 1 base. He's just now getting up to fully saturating that 1 base. As his natural is approaching, finishing up. There's not going to be any probes to do anything there for a little while. But I think... Oh, a Baneling Nest coming down as well out of Rex. That's a little surprising. Rex a bit of a Roach Queen. And that's not the composition, the Roach Queen. She's a queen of roaches. I don't know. Lots of Lings spread out. I really like this out of Rex. A whole ton of vision. You can just see the map is absolutely covered in Zerglings. Zealot does find those 2 depots. I feel like maybe just send the Zerglings to kill it, so they're at least forced to send more units to deny that supply for Chumley. Instead, he's just going to add on additional supply depots, which is fine. It's not the end of the world, for sure. We're up to 45 drones, still only 22 workers for Chumley, who I think is a little confused as to where to go from here. However, I think it might just be a big 2-base attack out of Purifiers. And if that's the case, then him staying on just 1 base, making tons of Marines and tanks, might be the play here. You just have mass Roach Bane with tanks behind it and some Marines as well. Could be a good play. Looks like Ghost Chant and Cyan are looking to move out, though. And no Bane speed on the way, a little unfortunately for those Banelings. That would really help against these Marines. Do you have Stim? They should know this attack is coming, as they do have all those Zergling spotters, which is very nice for them. Hydrogen now on the way as well. Hopefully this prompts Rex to just make a ton of units. Love to see a lot of Roaches coming down as well. Still no Bane speed. And no bunker at the front. Really would have liked to see bunkers at the front at this point. Oh, he does have one. I'm sorry. My bad. 1 bunker at the front. It's a little bit far back. But it will still help. Is making a natural base now. 14 Roaches on the way. No tank out yet for Chumley. I think just 1 just popped. Yeah, 1 pop. If that can get down and get sieged. Oh no, it's having to go all the way around all the buildings. Oh, that's so unfortunate. That might be the difference between it being there in time and not. It's a bunch of Chumley's units wander forward as well. That's about 6 Marines dead. Although Ghost Chant did siege up very far back, which means Chumley will be allowed to siege up for free as well. So that's nice for him. Does even catch the Widow Mine for free as well. So not too bad there. No expansions out of Ghost Chant or Cyan, which means Chumley and Rex going to be on a big advantage if they can survive here. The tank does start to shell away at the Ling Bane, which still does not have speed on it. Rex decides to push forward, wants to kill this 1 tank at least, I think, and does manage to kill it. I think they may be able to just push through. Maybe there's slow Roaches, though, and the Marines pull back! They say, good luck with that one, boys. They do manage to draw the Stalkers into the tank fire, so that's nice for them. More and more tanks coming out for both sides. A planetary fortress for Chumley, so I like that move. Playing it pretty safe there. And adding on Ravagers now is Rex. Finally expanding to a 3rd base is Ghost Chant, but it's a little slow. And Chumley and Cyan, both the biggest losers of this game, so to speak, as they're definitely struggling in supply compared to their counterparts. We do have a big supply advantage for Rex over Ghost Chant, but that's kind of just the Roach effect, so I don't think it's too concerning at the end of the day. Could definitely move in and bile that tank down pretty easily, but I think just playing it a little warily. Wants to add on more Ravagers, which is a good choice here. They're continuing to parade push across the map, which I think is overstaying their welcome a little bit for the Purifiers. I think if they get this army crushed, that might just be game. They are both taking 3rd bases, which is nice, but little do they know, their opponents are already on 6 bases. And their opponents also know exactly how many bases they're on. So Chumley and Rex actually have a dearth of information here. Just so much info about everything they could possibly want to know about. Poor Chumley, his Marines, having a little bit of a struggle bus. I think he's going to try and drop on top of that right side tank. And the Liberators are coming in now. Yeah, Chumley's looking to drop, but I think he can't at the moment, at least. Oh, it does drop underneath the Liberator, actually. We'll be able to kill that pretty nicely, I think. Yeah, it does kill that 1 Lib, so that's helpful, but a bunch of his units wander forward and get annihilated by the tank fire here. I think if they mined out the minerals, and yeah, here we go. They're mining out the minerals. Dang, we're so in sync, except they misclicked the drones. If they mine out the minerals and then one of them flanks, I think that would be really good. Oh, but they're going for the bust now. They've had enough. Oh, biling the wrong thing, I think. You need to bile the tanks here. They're so helpful against these Roaches. Oh, and so many Immortals as well. We'll be able to pull back into their own tanks and do have... No, he unsieged the tanks! Oh, no! Chumley unsieges his own tanks, which means the Roaches now perish undefended. The tanks are still alive for the moment, and there is a planetary fortress. The Immortal does fall. There is one other Immortal. Still no Roach Speed. I don't think Rex has realized it just yet. And that is so painful for them, as Roach Speed would be making so much of a difference here. Still, though, at a decent supply is Rex, but Chumley's just fallen so far behind now. And I think it's just going to be a matter of economy at this point. Very unfortunate for the Blind leading the Deaf, but I think they've got. They had a really strong position, but they just did not break out quickly enough. They did not get their upgrades that they so desperately needed, like that Roach Speed. It's hard to remember all that in the heat of battle, obviously, and it wound up costing them a little bit there. They do have a decent-sized army here. If they can somehow win this next engagement, then maybe they can come back into it, but I just don't see that happening. And poor Chumley's still just been struggling in the economy so much this entire game. Now realizing the missing Roach Speed. Oh, Chumley goes in alone. Does not have his tank sieged up just yet. Needs to siege that bad boy. Does siege him up, but it's in range of the other 3 tanks of Ghost Chant. No, the tanks are not targeting his tank. Now they do, and down it goes. And I think that's going to be all she wrote here for the Blind, leading the Deaf. They try to come in, but they get cleaned up. A good try, a solid try. GG has to be called here.
Team Purifier.
All right, well, that will do it. Seth, you can go ahead and take us away into the interviews.
Yeah, that was action-packed. Went all the way to Game 3. Let me see if I can add... Ah, there you are. Alright, let's bring in our players again. Good games, ladies and gents. Woo! That was action-packed there. But, good. Oh, well, congratulations first of all to Purifiers. But let's start with the Blind leading Deaf here. That game number 2 adjustment was really well played, but then you decided to do it again in game number 3. What was the thought process behind that?
We haven't had a lot of time to practice lately, but when we did have a lot of time to practice, we practiced the 4 racks and then that Ghost Nuke Rush to death. And so it's just a build that we're really, we've got memorized, and so we just thought, well, it worked so well the first time. What if we just did it again? And it did not work the second time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. The problem was the second game was one of the only maps that they are really separated, and so it worked really well. On the third map, it was the heavy artillery, which is they share a common choke. They're able to defend together at the same time. So it was close though. There was a point there where ET could not call it, could go either way. The Lynx could have targeted down the stalkers to make quick work on that side, but at the end of the day, it just fell short. And then, but still, you guys had a chance. Rex, you had all those expansions. What was going on?
I just, if I haven't been doing my inject, then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, I've got 900 minerals and no larva, so I guess I'll make 3 hatcheries. That was my thought process in my head. And, I mean, it helped, but it's just that I'm really bad at pushing into the, sieged up Terran. They've got that little area, and what we should have done is mined out the minerals to the side and surrounded them from the back, but we didn't, and so, you just... I feel like I had lots of stuff, but it's just not going to work if you're just attacking directly into the wrong place. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, with that economy, you were able to produce a lot of stuff, although they were roaches, but you had the supply lead for the most predominant part of that game. But I think ET said it. I mean, I think some of the upgrades could have helped roach speed, maybe the baneling speed, but you did have the numbers. And I think you guys kept getting provoked by the 1 or 2 tanks that were right in front of your base, and you guys kept losing a lot of these units here and there, and eventually they just, broke through. But it was a good set of games. It was close there in that one window in game number 3 where it could have gone either way at that point. But unfortunately just fell short. ET, do you have any questions here for the blind leading the death?
I don't think so. I think you got it called pretty well. Yeah, I think it really came down to one. I think the mineral thing would have been a great idea, and then 2, yeah, just slow roaches trying to push into Tank Immortal is not a great sight to see, unfortunately. But very good games overall. Pretty crazy back and forth, almost entirely throughout. So very well played. Look forward to the rest of your series.
Yeah, it was really close. We got our game 3. And congratulations to the Purifiers. You guys, were on top of it. You guys got tripped up by that one, ET said a build order loss, right? It's because it's because Ghost Chant decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go CC first. In the meantime,
he'll tell the story about that one. But
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, CC first versus a proxy 4 racks. I don't think that's I can't tell of any more of a mismatch build order. But yeah, tell us about what happened there, Ghost Chant.
So we had a plan going into that game, right? And that plan flew out the window when I sent my first SCV to build the depot, and I went back to my command center. And then I looked up on my minerals and went, why do I have so many minerals? And I looked back to the ramp and went, oh, I didn't build the depot. So I went, all right, I guess we're going CC first. And that was how we went about that one.
Well, whenever you make a mistake, you make that call and just adjust. And sometimes you have to do that. Unfortunately, it just so happens that was the time when he was building 4 Raxus just right outside your base. So that was unfortunate. But you guys played well. The positioning was, well done. There's that one tank in game number 3 that I think had 30 plus kills. It was just behind those rocks and just kept provoking them, aggroing their units, and just kept shelling at them. And it was well done. And also,
that's like a broken spot on that map. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought, I think Chumley was trying to address that by sending a drop to see if he can drop on top of it. But then the Liberators came and, that window closed. But Cyan did a good job too, with the Immortals. And in game number 1, with all those storms, I think that turned the battle. So you guys played well all around. Impressive win. ET, do you have any questions here for the Purifiers?
Unfortunately, I'm entirely stupefied after this series. I have no real questions. They've all been covered very well by you. But well done, everyone.
Well done.
Good games.
Anybody has?
I gotta say, my favorite part of having a Protoss teammate is that storm button. Just saying.
Yeah, and the double shield battery there in game number 3 on top of that ramp. I think that one really held on long enough for you to just eke out a few more units to hold on. So well done all around. Unfortunately for the blind leading the death, just fell short. But you have more games. Still more ways to find a way to make it to the playoffs. We'll look at that later. But good games.
Yeah, good games.
Jeez, guys.
No, good games. Good luck.
All right. ET, let's take a quick break. Let me assess where we are and what we need to do, and we'll be right back.
Alrighty.
But hey,
all right, let's see Freedom's counterattacker. This is a very scary army, though. Look at this scary army.
This is good. Yeah, because he has a lot of immortals for those lurkers. But he needs to tank the.
Oh my gosh, that's so painful!
Again. Not an A move, but he's just moving. He's not attacking.
Yeah.
He lost all his. This A move right there. A move.
Yeah, but he needs to save some of his AoE. There's the storm. Yeah. More storms, but that was not a good battle for Aiden. I think he might have lost the game based on just that engagement. Yeah. He was really well positioned, but he tried to butt his head on that wall. There are a ton of lurkers there, right? And then he used up all his storms for that one queen.
And by the time the rest of the armies came in, you didn't have enough storm. Because if you blanketed that area, oh, that was a bad move here by Dark Menace. But if you blanketed that area with storm, all those links would fall.
Yep.
Your immortals would stand strong. But now instead,
Yeah, he's gonna get fried here.
I think this is it. He lost that game based on that one engagement at the 15-minute mark, and then we're gonna have to talk to him about that.
He was doing so good, actually.
Yeah, that was his best chance to win. Unfortunately, he's gonna fall here. There's no way for him to stop these lurkers. Both of his robos are there, which he just promptly lost, and that spelled the end. GG.
Yeah, but he did great too with his grades. Kept up with his worker count.
Here it is.
Alright.
This is a huge army. Protoss
Yeah, look at that bile.
takes some vials. There's anti-air here. There's enough Hydras, I think, especially if she biles. The interceptors aren't in great number. The Colossus is a problem, but the trade is good. And look at the biles. Beautiful biles.
Even if she loses this entire army, there's
It's
a
fine.
second wave to get ready. But it looks like she's gonna win this out. Barely. Oh, the biles hit the crit.
The biles are so
carriers.
good. I think Protoss may. Well, I don't know. She's not reinforcing. There it is. She's finally reinforcing.
Yeah, but even look at the stream of units going
Oh
across the
yeah,
map.
Kitty Cat has a giant stream. Oh my gosh, this is Power Zerg. This is like a marine, a bio, parade push.
Yeah, this is reminds me of the old bomber with just a bunch of marines going across the map.
Wow.
Right.
Well played here. I think Miss Uber XL just needs more storm, more AOE damage at this point.
Yeah, you can never
And-
win against the swarm of the Zerg unless you have some sort of an AOE to mitigate their numbers. Right?
Yeah.
And you can't. And she did have Colossus, but I think they were just too late
Yeah,
and
she
not
maybe-
enough.
What do you think is enough? She had like 4 of them, maybe.
Yeah, I think you need to get 4, and then even a little bit more
Even
to
just
force them
3.
to go air.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just overwhelming numbers here for Kitty Cat. It's
Just
a
too
very
many.
impressive.
Yeah, and now at this point, Protoss can't make enough to do anything.
Yeah, there's just not enough, and that should do it. Very convincing Kitty Cat gamer win. And look at that.
Yeah, game 1 adjustment.
Look at that. She's even microing, so it funnels the front line, so it doesn't block the back. Right?
Yes,
These are small things that we notice.
Yep. Stu Blue's probably gonna give some coaching. Like, he's actually sending the queens home.
There it is. There's a battle on the 3rd.
Yeah, I think he needs to fight this. These are slow lots.
Yeah, but
He can micro this. He can kite
there's still
somewhat.
enough charge lots here though.
These aren't even charged yet. Charge's
Well,
not
yeah.
done. Oh,
There's
he
the overcharge.
misclicked. He misclicked. He was trying to get the Void Ray, and a lot of the units died from the Zealot, the slow Zealot. Oh no. This is what I was saying. If he had brought the queens and just kind of microed better, this is a winning position. I mean, we do see
Alright, here's-
everything, so it's not fair.
There's charge is done.
Oh, good
Goes-
kite back. Go back to the spores. This is good. Go back some more to the other spores. Instability though.
Yeah, this is not a
Chomping
good
down
battle.
these high. But she gets scared. Oh no, she just wants to avoid the spore attack. But there's not enough ground.
Yeah. Charge slot reigns supreme in that battle.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. I think, and he's even making a lair there by mistake, of course, because he already has one at home. Actually, Frieden had a good chance here. I think he just needed to micro a little better and prioritize the attack up front. So,
Yeah.
double the supply and army. So, and Frieden can't fight in open ground against charge slash. He needs to be back in corners, and so I think he's gonna lose his army, and that's it. I mean, this is
Yeah.
a giant army now. Look, his creep spread was really good in this game, but He doesn't have the army, and that's gonna do it for game 1. So yeah.
It's a good victory there for instability. You got
Here. So yeah, Criminal's gonna push up front on the right, the front right side, keep him busy. Then this drop, which was trying to go, I don't know why it zoomed into the right side. He knew about this earlier, but he's just gonna go for it. He's like, you know, I have a lot of Marines. That's only one cannon. And look, the Archaic is aware of the army up front, and so he defends pretty decently here. But oh, Colossus pops up just in time, but the Colossus can die. He's by himself. He's alone. There is a cannon. He needs to micro it back. He doesn't micro it back because he's dealing with the thing up front. He's slowly falling apart here. This bio army is getting strong. Oh my gosh. I think he has broken him with this two-prong attack, at least at the front side. Look at the army difference, 74 to 14. He has a huge army here. He can just F2 there and then just win. So maybe the Archaic cleans this up, but you know, he's gonna need 2 Colossi here, and they're not. One isn't even out yet. He took a lot of damage there. And oh no, the big army's coming. So this is the killing blow that the Archaic is not ready for. I think he took too much damage from the drop, despite putting the cannons here. So he needs to have a nice engagement here. This is a huge army, 89 to 26, guys. He's gonna stim to kill the Colossus, which didn't even get to shoot, and he just dies. No micro, and that's gonna do it. So game 1.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. We have our last game of the night. Code A. It's going to be between Criminal and Cyan. Let's actually bring them in so we can chat with them. Turn on their cameras as well. There they are. Criminal there on the top right. We've got Cyan joining us now, or both Cyan and Criminal. Good evening, gentlemen. Let's start with Cyan. You're all warmed up coming from that 2v2 game. You guys look good. Your play looked good. How do you feel tonight?
Feel pretty good. I'm hoping Criminal's not warmed up, so that might give me a little bit of advantage. I just went over a few things with Nihilus too about Terran, so hopefully we got this figured out tonight.
Nice, nice. And yes, let's see. Before we go to Criminal here, ET, do you have any questions here for Cyan?
Oh yeah, let's see. Did you have any specific comments or reasonings for your vetoes? I saw Pride of Altaris and Curious Minds. I feel like those are both relatively short maps. Was that kind of your reasoning there, or can you walk us through that?
Well, Blackburn, and I love playing Blackburn, so he picked that for me, and then of course everybody wants to play 2K. But the other ones, I feel like the way he plays with his double harass drop and then something in the front, it's just easier to handle on the other maps than I feel that I could handle on those maps.
Okay, alrighty, that's my question.
Alright, and talking to Criminal here, Cyan said he's hoping you're not warmed up, but usually, you know, you're coming from work, you're rushing home, say hi to the family, have dinner. Were you able to able to get a warm up game here and there?
I was able to get one game, but it's a TVT. It was mech versus mech. So yeah,
so
I don't know. How's that gonna help me?
Well, maybe if Cyan plays like a mech style Protoss, but no. Hopefully you'll warm up just in time for the games to get going. ET, do you have any questions here for Criminal before we start?
Yeah, so obviously Cyan, we've heard I think a few times, really likes Blackburn. What's kind of your reasoning for picking Blackburn first? You a big fan of the map, and like what kind of what about the map makes you like to play it?
I think I like it more. Is that for me or for Criminal?
That's for Criminal.
Oh, okay.
Blackburn. yeah, this map is quick, and it's all about getting to the middle. You get the middle, you win. That's how I look at it as a Terran. But yeah, hoping for a quick win on the first map. But I don't know. I'm pretty weak against Protoss, especially in the late game.
All right, perfect. Well, good luck to you both.
Gotcha. All right, well,
Thank you. Let's
good
have
luck.
fun.
Yeah, let's have fun. Good luck. We'll talk to you guys after the match. Let's mute and deafen our players here. And let's get this going. Let's start it off. Let's look at the quick look at the vetoes once again. As they said, Blackburn, 2000 atmospheres, and then Glittering Ashes if necessary. And
Yeah, so I'd say about as random of 3 maps as you can get. There's not really a theme of like, oh, big maps or short maps or weird maps. It's like weird map, big map, kind of middle map. So we're all over the place here. So we might see a wide variety of strategies here, but we're hopping into game.
You are watching FSL Season 5.
In the bottom right-hand side of Blackburn LE, we have our teal Protoss player. He is. And his opponent in the red, our Terran player. He is.
Criminal.
So kind of based off what Criminal was saying about the map, it sounds like we're going to see some more mid-game focus pushes out of him potentially. As he talked about wanting to control that middle of the map. You usually see Terrans like to do that with like tank pushes and things like that. He's scouting around for any sort of proxy, it looks like, and then we'll probably go across the map. So he is dropping his barracks in his main base. And a pretty conservative gateway out of Cyan as well. Second barracks is being proxied. Cyan's going with a relatively quick scout, but this is the kind of proxy that might fool a scout. So we'll see if he does manage to get the read on what's going on here. First barracks does finish up. No unit out of it just yet. There we go. He's going to make a Marine now. Cyan may be able to get the read based off of a delayed command center. But Criminal wants to lock him inside, and we'll be able to do so. Wants to be able to. Oh, actually, no. Maybe that's. I don't think that traps him. I'm pretty sure that probe could get out if he wanted to, but he's opting to stay. I'm pretty sure the barracks isn't positioned in the right spot to actually block units from getting in and out. Nonetheless, we have, so it's going to be like Marines at home, Marauders on this side of the map, maybe? Just like concussive shells, so kind of an all-in, it seems like. So perhaps trying to throw Cyan off in talking about controlling the middle of the map and things like that in the pre-game interviews. As he is instead being very aggressive. He's going to go for reactored Marines. He's going to make Marauders, get that concussive shells up, and maybe even try to get up like a bunker or something along those lines. I think you probably could afford another barracks or more, but okay, he's going to expand. All right, I like this. Not too overcommitted. I think that's the right way to go about this. So it's going to be a pretty heavy pressure build. He does need to get some damage done with this, but he doesn't have to win the game outright. He just has to get a good amount of damage done. I expect we'll see him go with about 3 Marauders, 3 Marines, somewhere in that range. Cyan is only just now making his first unit. Stalker does pop out. He's got a Twilight Council and a second gateway on the way. The absolute best case scenario here is you go Robo and you get out of Fast Immortal, but that's a little bit of a big ask here. Shield battery does come down, but it's late, so the Marauders do destroy it. Doesn't even get a cancel on it. Maybe able to kill this pylon as well. If this Stalker comes down here, this Stalker's dead. Okay, the Stalker is now dead. As soon as Marauders hit it, it's going to die. This won't be able to get away. And GG's called. bit of a heartbreaking start there. Just a heavy all-in. Very well hidden by Criminal there. A little unfortunate the Cyan probe did not make it down to see if there was a natural base. So very, very clever all-in out of Criminal there, I gotta say. I'm a pretty big fan of how he executed that. We will be heading into 2,000 atmospheres to follow up on that. And we'll see what happens there. A little bit harder of a map to all in on like that, but it's still possible. And Criminal just trying to make himself hard to read, it feels like. And doing a good job at that. He did have a Nat, but that's still a very committed build. I feel like that much commitment to the tech and everything, it's going to be pretty hard to macro out of that unless you get a lot of damage. In that case, he killed him, so that's enough damage to macro out of. But it's a very delayed natural base. I think if there'd been a slightly faster battery, maybe, but it's just so hard to read that coming. So, very clever build. Very clever build.
Watching FSL Season 5.
All right, in the upper right-hand side of 2,000 atmospheres, LE, we have our teal Protoss player. He is
Cyan.
And in the bottom left, the bottom left, we've got the red Terran. He is
Criminal.
all right. So we'll see what Criminal decides to whip out here, or maybe something that Cyan might choose to whip out. I feel like Cyan's more of a 2 or 3 base kind of player if he's going to pull something out from what I've seen. Rather than like a 1 base or like 1.5 base kind of all in. And Criminal scouting around voraciously for anything that may come his way. So we'll see. Do have a scout coming out of Cyan nice and early. And may even cross paths with this SCV, which should be a little bit of a... Alright, that feels good, I'd imagine. I think maybe the lack of an SCV scout, because I think there was no SCV scout. Maybe that tips you off. I'm trying to think of how you even really know that build is coming early enough to defend it. It's a strong build. I think maybe it's the SCV scout has to tip you off that something weird's going on. Didn't see the natural right away. I don't know. Anyways, eBay block is going to come down out of Criminal. So perhaps we will see a 1-base play out of Cyan out of necessity. I think this is way too late of an eBay block. I don't know. I feel like Cyan's busy across the map. He should really be, he should already be down there trying to expand at this point, I would think. Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. Also, that probe got a shocking amount of damage off on that Marine, unless he accidentally target fired his own stuff. 15 damage, I think, 3 hits. That's pretty significant. Still, okay, so Cyan is just going to all in against Criminal here. Going for 3 gateways. Either he's all inning or he thinks there's something coming his way. And the build Criminal's doing is actually pretty solid against this, though. No blink or anything like that. The earlier he kills that eBay, the better, though. He doesn't really want all this free info for Criminal. I mean, Criminal knows that he's not expanded, most likely. I guess you could hide a base, but it's a little bit harder to do as Protoss. At least when there's no gold base right nearby to build it at. Against ability to... Oh, okay. He just thinks he's being all in. Ah, that's unfortunate. Oh, okay, but I think he's going to counter all in as well. But I mean, if you counter all in, but you built 2 shield batteries, and your opponent has a bunker down already, and 3 barracks. It's not going to go the best, at least. But Criminal might not react properly to this. And Cyan does see now what's going on, so he knows there's an expansion. Shield batteries did finish up, though, which is a little unfortunate. It is going to be just a 4-gate all-in out of Cyan here. Warping across the map. There are quite a few Marines. They're all chilling in the main base, though. If there was a bunker in the main as well as the net, I'd say this is 100% a hold, as is. If that front bunker gets busted before repair can come down, then I think Cyan might be able to do it. Criminal not really with the best army here. It's pure Marine, and most of it's not even in the right spot to defend. I think maybe he thinks there's going to be some sort of drop here, which he's slightly mistaken about, but it's understandable. The bunker is full, but it's only 4 Marines against a whole lot of Stalkers with no repair. And we'll be able to kill 1 Stalker, so that's not the worst. He's going to try and pull back up onto the high ground. Cyan could maybe shade up to prevent the walls from going up. The walls do make it up. There's 1 Marauder out now. Now he's targeting down the depot. Adepts are in the front tanking, which is nice. Don't really know how this is going to turn out here. There's a Widow Mine on the way. He's going to float back up into the main base, and there's no expansion on the way for Cyan, so he's even more all-in than we saw Criminal in the previous game. And the Stalker does even get taken out by that Widow Mine. Cyan's going to try and expand out of this, but he doesn't have tech. Whereas Criminal does have his starport coming down. He has stem on the way as well over halfway done. And more and more Widow Mines coming out now, so it's going to be splash damage. There's no blink to really deal with those Widow Mines in a super effective way. He has forced him back up onto the high ground, but it's only going to be for a little bit longer, I feel like, until he can kind of push down and push out. Potentially even could already, but you know, you don't want to you don't want to assume you can and end up dying for it after you make that hold. So he's going to float down with the CC now. He's up 5 workers and does have mules as well, obviously. Adding on 2 more barracks. It's going to be 5 barracks. I think may just do a counter all in with 5 racks. Could still drop a 3rd base. Twilight Council is finishing up, is opting for a quick charge. Criminal is swapping into siege tanks, so that helps. If it was continued Widowmine production, the charge lots are kind of a feels bad there, obviously, as they do quite well against Zealots, but he is swapping into tanks. They still help, but they're not as good. I think he's just trying to find a drop on its way out. But Criminal doesn't appear to be going for a drop just yet. He's really playing very defensively. Knows that he has a big economy advantage, or should, and indeed he does. I think that might trap that tank there. Maybe not. It's going to be close. I suppose you can always airlift it out with a medevac. It shouldn't be stuck. It shouldn't be stuck. You can always airlift it out anyways. You have all the upgrades coming down for Criminal. Ah, Storm. Storm is on the way. Well, Templar Archives is on the way. Soon to be Storm. If he can indeed get out Storm, that'll be a big boon for him. As that's going to be a pretty heavy bio focus out of Criminal, it looks like. And bio versus Storms is hard to micro. Very, very hard to micro. We are now seeing the drop move out. We'll find that gateway of Cyan. So should be able to shut that down. Cyan may have seen the drop coming out. It's hard to pay attention to that mini-map, though. Don't I know it. Now, we don't have Blink, so it's going to be a little bit harder to deal with drops. Does have Psystorm on the way now, but Criminal should now know about this. With this drop potentially coming into that main base, right where the Templar Archives is. Will, at least in theory, know about it. Gateway does get cleaned up. A modest supply lead for Criminal, I would say. About 20 supply up. not the biggest lead, and Storm is the great equalizer, so to speak. We will have a big upgrade advantage. Already +1. We'll have 1-1 before any upgrades of Cyan can finish up. If that +1 is allowed to finish up, that'll be very helpful. Moving out onto the map now. He's trying to do some double prong harassment. Cyan already well in position. And will pull back up there. Does split up his army, though. Very good out of Cyan. Criminal manages to get a couple zealots and no blink, so won't be able to chase that army down. Storm is now done. Criminal looking to lose his medevac here. And I think he's going to succeed. Alrighty. Charging in the front. Big size storms blanketing the army. Medevac's running and die. Does kill a couple zealots, which is nice. Knows about the storm now, so maybe he can get out the counter for it. We do see a Ghost Academy dropping. So he's going to do his best at the very least. I think he's slightly misdone his add-ons, possibly. No, he does have 3 add-ons on his barracks. I guess he doesn't have enough money to make 3 Marauders at a time. You definitely want a heavy Marauder focus against this kind of composition out of Cyan. And, of course, going to be able to add on those ghosts now. They are starting up, which will help. Random depot, I kind of like it. Good spotter, I suppose, for if there's a third base. Which there's not, but he is moving out to take it now. So we'll be able to see that coming. Enhanced shockwaves coming down as well. That +1 armor will finish up. The supply is equalized, but that means now Criminal does know about the Size Storm. So it's equalized, yes, but Criminal did get some amount of value for it. As opposed to just being equal in supply and then getting stormed to death. Which is not the best, obviously. Only 1 ghost. I'd like to see at least 4. That's the number I've made up in my head, and I'm going to stick to it. 4. Is adding on another one now. And Shockwave's over halfway done as Archon's morphing in as well, and that just makes the ghosts every ghost you add on is all the more beneficial now. As he is making a 4th base even. But you can absolutely EMP those Archons to tidbits. You have to know that they're there. You have a 3rd base now coming down for Cyan. Criminal, I think, still somewhat in the lead. Has not started adding on his armory, unless it's already done. Nope, no armory. Which means he cannot start his +2/+2, and the double forge is coming down for Cyan, so that edge possibly slipping away from Criminal as well. Obviously, he's just trying to spend, or, he already kind of just is spending all his money. As ghosts are pretty expensive, so it's hard to find a space to fit in that +2/+2 upgrade as well. And the armory and everything else. Planetary Fortress will come up at the 4th base. 3 more ghosts on the way. He's going up to a lot of ghosts, which I do like with the addition of those Archons, which it looks like he did scan. So he knows they're there. Cyan now adding on his Robo Bay, but definitely kind of late with that. As 4 medevac drop goes out across the map. That is brave. 4 medevacs. Double Forge is done. Nothing researching yet. We'll finally be able to start adding on Colossi, which helps. And starting to drop cannons in the main base. A good idea. It may not work out in this specific instance, as they may get dropped on top of and killed before they can really finish up. But if they do finish, will definitely help against this 4 medevac drop. And Criminal a little bit slow to pull the trigger on that drop, even it looks like. Maybe wanting it to be more of a backstabbing drop rather than a harassing drop. He has a lot of ghosts now. 9 ghosts with more on the way. And he's going to move out towards that 3rd base of Cyan. Still no armory, though, it looks like. Yeah, no armory out of Criminal. We'll be able to drop on top of this 4th base. Oh, man. Kind of pulls him away to the 4th base and then drops into the main base, but there's a lot of Zealot Warpins. he can get into the third base while all this is going on, Cyan is pulling everything to the main base. So storms are about to blanket that army in the main, though, I feel. Maybe. He might want to save him, I guess? Trading surprisingly well here. There goes a storm, but he's going to lose his third base for defending this drop, and the drop even makes it away mostly into the main. And the third base is going to get completely cleaned up. All the probes are going to go down as well. And there's even storm available here. Ghost kind of getting caught without the bio, though, as they're all huddling in a corner, which is not great for him. Oh, Criminal, some mis-microing here, actually costing him big time. Turns this from a super successful attack into a bit of a painful one. Still has a good army supply, is able to drop back into the main base now, where the probes are still just chilling, so he'll be able to kill all those probes as well, and Cyan feels he needs to counterattack. I think he's correct on, really. Criminal, if he positions well and sees this coming, should be able to defend. I think there's a lot of storms, though. You gotta get your EMPs off as Criminal here. And I believe Criminal's F2'd at this point. I think maybe scanning ahead so you know exactly where the Storm is, could help. Does hit some of it, but there's so much energy on them, he doesn't actually manage to get rid of it all. I don't know that it's going to matter. I think he may be able to clean up here nonetheless. Oh my gosh, a lot of storms, but he's made a very heavily maraudered composition. And yeah, I think Criminal may actually be able to clean it up 2-0 here. Cyan obviously not dead, but it's 24 workers. He's heavily down in army supply as well. It's going to be hard to remake all that storm. It's only charge lots out at this point. It is, of course, 1-1 to 1-1. But I'm just not sure that's going to be enough. The charge lots are even going in on top of the planetary fortress, which may get repaired. Criminal not repairing it just yet. A little sloppy there. Will lose the planetary, but that's all of Cyan's army. Oh, the repair. He's trying. GG.
Alright, GG's, gentlemen. Good games. Unfortunately for Cyan, felt 0-2 there. Congratulations to Criminal. But let's start with Cyan first. Cyan, so after that game, it's just a lot of drops pulling you left and right. How do you think, let's say if you're going to play him again, what would you have done differently in those games?
Probably more vision on the sides and maybe more blink stalkers. I told myself to open blink, but after that first game, seeing that he came with concussive shells that soon, I was like, I really didn't want to see that again. So I think I opened charge instead of blink on the second game.
Gotcha. I think you had a moment there in game number 2 where you were attacking and you pushed him back. But I think because of the way you read it, you held off getting your natural for a long time, and you got defensive in your main base. Did you think that he was doing another all-in build in that game number 2?
Yeah, because I saw where he opened Marine again, which was the same thing that he did in game 1, so I thought that he would try it again. But apparently he didn't. So when I went back down there and checked, I was like, oh, well, he does have his natural, and that's when I went with the 4-gate, just kind of 4-gated it and then push him back. And then I thought, well, maybe I'm ahead by a little bit. And so then I'll start expanding. But after that, I think he just expanded like crazy and I just didn't keep up with him.
Gotcha. ET, do you have any questions?
Oh, not much. Yeah, I think he played it pretty smartly there in game 2 because he built his CC up on the high ground rather than right in the nat, so it was really hard to scout it. And yeah, I was kind of even theory crafting. I'm like, I really don't know what you do to know that build's coming, the build in the first game. besides just happening to see that second barracks. But a very good try overall. I think you nearly brought it back in game two, obviously with those storms and everything, and just a narrow loss. This Drop's doing quite well there towards the end. So very good try, and I'm sure you'll do well throughout the rest of the season. So good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you, thank you.
And congratulations, Criminal. You're just cruising through this Code A division. How do you feel you played in these 2 games tonight?
The first game I planned for it. The second game, my plan was to wait to see what he's gonna bring, but I made so many misclick. The drops was the first initial drops was useless, and I thought I was just gonna wait for the Protoss to A move, and I think he made the mistake also attacking me while he should have just waited because I don't know if he's ahead that much or I was just overestimating it. But when I saw the storm, I thought he was ahead. But yeah, I got lucky.
Gotcha. Well, you keep saying you got lucky, but it's all about skill, and you dotted your I's, crossed your T's, and got that victory. ET, do you have any other questions here for Criminal?
It's just obviously a very, very Terran thing. Has Storm, you just check the box of he's ahead. But you managed to get the ghosts out. I think you had a buffer from the early game of being ahead where you were ahead in supply and then he stormed you and you dropped down a bunch in supply, but instead of like dropping below, you kind of just evened out, and then that allowed you to have the forewarning to get your ghosts out, which was pretty nice for you. I guess game one, was that a build plan specifically against what you've seen Cyan pull out, or is that just a general build you like to do on that map?
On that map, yeah, I like to do that build on that map with the Protoss, and hits really good. Usually go big after the 3 Marauders, you're very far ahead.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's all the questions I had.
Gotcha. Well, congratulations, Criminal. You're cruising
you.
to a #1 seed. Good luck in your future games. Same to you, Cyan. You're not out of it yet. You're still holding on to that 4th seed with a 3-3 record, and there's still a lot of games to be played, but good luck to your future games.
GG, Cyan. Thank you.
All right, GG's. So, ET, that was a nice set of games we had tonight, right? Out of those 3 matches we had, which one was your favorite to watch and to cast?
I think it was probably Instability and Freedom, especially that game two. It was just pretty wild, pretty crazy, and a lot of fun, but definitely a lot of crazy games throughout all the series. So very enjoyable night, and it's just going to be followed up by more good stuff down the week.
Yeah, and just a quick recap. We had to start it off with Instability defeating Freedom, who was undefeated at that time, 2-0. And it was a pretty convincing 2-0. She did well. There are some things that she could improve, but it was enough to beat Freedom. So she now holds on the #1 seed. We'll look at that in a little bit. And then that game was followed up with our 2v2. Blind leading the Death, just falling short from against the Purifiers, 2-1. They had their chances. They executed that well-timed attack in the game #2, but just fell short in game #3. And then the one you guys just saw, Criminal versus Cyan. Criminal just clicking on all cylinders there, even transitioning to Ghost, accounting for the side storms, and handled it well. So well done there, 2-0. And so let's bring in our standings here. I've updated it. And if we could take a quick peek, we have on a 2v2, see Kodeo is 3-1, but there's a bunch of 1-loss teams here. We have the Purifiers, GG Izzy. But Purifiers and Kodeo are tied, so they're going to be battling it out. Although Kodeo does have the 1-up on Purifiers based on the head-to-head match victory. But not too far behind would be GG Izzy. And Tortoise and Hare only has 1 loss either. So we're going to be seeing them this Friday. And let's see if they can make their way up this ranking. And then if you look at Code A, Criminal there sitting at 5-0 undefeated, #1 seed, followed by The Archaic with that 1 loss against Criminal. Little Reaper not too far behind. And Code S looking pretty up top there is Instability, 6-1. She does have 1 last game, but the last seed is going to be determined by how Dark Menace and Neutrophil plays and how many maps they drop during their games based on tiebreakers. Because we have that three-way scenario where Instability beat Dark Menace beats Neutrophil, Neutrophil beats Instability. So it's going to come down to map score if they all end up with one loss each. So I'm looking forward to that. And in terms of schedule, there it is. We're going to be playing this Friday, Tortoise and Hare versus Purifiers. We have Champone, who hasn't played in a bit here, but this is a very important game for Champone against Cloak. Essentially, if he loses this game, I think he is knocked out. But if he wins, you know, has a good chance he can make it. We have Hyper Turtle and Deepu, who has not played in a while, but he's going to be playing a lot here in the next few weeks. And then finishing it out with Sir Maligan and Neutrophil. So a lot of cool games coming up this Friday. We had a lot of good games tonight. I want to thank E.T. E.T., I really appreciate it. You coming in, casting tonight. Especially the time where I'm running the production. Because my head's all over the place. There's too many buttons to click. And I also want to thank our observers tonight. We had Regret joining in to observe, as well as Neutrophil. And doing admin work, The Archaic and Mizelle helping out. So I want to thank them all. Most of all, thank you to our viewers and all our players in FSL. And tonight we're signing off. Any final words, E.T.?
Oh, just thanks for having me. Look forward to the rest of the season.
Yep. And hopefully you can join us for more casts. We always look forward to your casts. I'm sure the people there enjoy listening to you than listening to me. So with that, we're going to be signing off. And GG's, everyone. See you on Friday.